what a great opportunity to show your worth when so many around you are poor. He's not trying to break into a treble-winning side, is he?
And he could be in the Champions League next season.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that could happen.
Yeah.
So I'll let you into a little secret. Don't go there. I'll let you into a little secret, right? Sam Matface, who's normally with us on game night, on Monday nights, a Chelsea fan, as we all know, doesn't like to talk about it very much.
No, he doesn't.
But he used to call, when Mason Mount was at Chelsea, he used to call him the baby Jesus, because he loved him that much.
Doesn't that say a lot about Sam Matface?
We'll move on and we'll go with Joe Shannon's magic moment. Here we go. A goal at Bradford at a bridge.
Bradford 1, Fleetwood Town 0. It's remarkable. It's a deflected own goal from George Lapsley's shot from 12 yards out, and the fans are on the pitch. It's a pitch invasion in the final minute of stoppage time.
Yeah, Joe, why are you picking that one?
Come on, that at any level of football is what it's all about, right? Because the incredible thing was, they started the day in pole position, Bradford, and by the way, 24,000 at Valley Parade.
Unbelievable.
Big club, and you played against them, I'm sure, when they're in the Premier League, and ever since they went down, they've not really had anything to shout about, Bradford City. I think they made the League Cup final one season, lost to Swansea, but they've had very little to shout about other than that. They were dropping out of the automatics. Walsall, I think, had already won at Crewe, so Bradford knew they had last minute of 7 added to score, and Lapsley shoots and it goes in off Sarcevic. He barely knows a thing about it. The crowd are invading the pitch. You heard there in the commentary, you heard there with the atmosphere in the background. That, to me, is what being a football fan is all about. It's the lows of thinking that you're going to miss out, to the highs that those 24,000 are never going to forget ever again.
I think it's, funnily enough, I do know some Bradford fans because I've spent a lot of time in Leeds and Bradford, but that club has got huge potential.
Yeah,
because of the, the surrounding areas and the people who go and watch. I mean, the attendances are huge. I'm not disrespecting Walsall, but they're not capable of producing that. So I think it was an amazing moment. I've been lucky enough to have a couple of experiences with golden goal winners to win a trophy, or last minute winners nearly to win FA Cups and stuff. I've been part of those celebrations. It is always that little bit nicer when it's late.
Of course.
There's just no
best
time.
way to go up, best way to win something.
It is, but it's horrible beforehand.
It was a sensational moment. The commentator there for TalkSport on Saturday was Adam Bridge, and he sent me, he was totally sober, but Saturday night he sent me a succession of messages like a drunk man, because he was so high on the performance and what had happened and the excitement of it all. He absolutely loved it, as I'm sure you can imagine. He's not even a Bradford fan, by the way. This is Danny Murphy's magic moment.
Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 1. It's a long throw hurled into the area by Antoine Semenyo, and Dean Howson rising high, a towering header into the far corner, and he's celebrating wildly here in front of the Bournemouth fans. His 3rd Premier League goal of the season. The Arsenal players looking around at one another, asking who was responsible for the marking there, and Dominic Areola punching the air. His side have been nowhere near their best in this one, but they have the equaliser. 67 gone, Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 1.
Big man heads ball, what's going on?
Long throw-in. Not the only game of the day, so it's not against Arsenal, before any Arsenal fans are listening, but isn't it nice to see teams like Brentford, Bournemouth, any other team, Arsenal are good at set plays, for example, but long throw-ins, bits of throwback a little bit. Use your strengths, mix your game up. Not everything has to be pretty on the eye. The ball can go. You were talking about Brentford scoring at Forest.
Yeah, long punch down the middle, yeah.
Big long throw-in away at Arsenal, it's best defence in the Premier League. What happens? The big 6'4" centre-half heads in. Perfect.
But no Arsenal player got off the floor.
But what's going to happen next time someone plays Arsenal? Oh, we can throw. Can you throw a long ball? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bam.
Get it in the mixer.
And all of a sudden we'll have a spate of, I know we're coming to the end of the season, but you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
Do you think PSG will do it
on Wednesday? Nuno Mendes.
Well, we've seen Harry Maguire save United playing up front.
Yeah.
Pumping long balls. We've seen him whipping balls in on the right wing, beating people. There's no right or wrong. No one draws pictures after the result,
And what a player he is, Howson, by the way. Only 20. He's going to get a big move, isn't he, at some point?
Probably, although he might be about staying another year and getting a bit more experience in my. But it's highly unlikely. I just think, look, there's a lot of topical debate at the moment around players being robotic and managers being one-dimensional and seeing this. We've had this chat. Not that we completely agree with others on it, but I get the sentiment around, oh, you've got to play this way because I said you've got to play that way. But actually, if you've got someone who throws the ball in there and you've got 6'4" centre half, I'd like to see it more.
I would like to hear the conversation between Arteta and his set-piece coach as to why no Arsenal player got off the floor. Yeah, that conversation I would like made public, please. That was our magic moments. All thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
The big preview on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Well, the players making their way down the tunnel away in the corner here to our right at Selhurst Park as kickoff is just short of 15 minutes away. Live on TalkSport in the Premier League, it is Crystal Palace taking on Nottingham Forest.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5+ acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
A Minecraft movie has arrived in McDonald's Happy Meal. Help your little ones build their own adventure. Explore the overworld and meet exciting new friends. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 6th of May from 11am. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. While stocks last, fair ordering policy applies. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal.
The best seat in the house is no longer in the house. It's outside with the sound of birds chirping overhead. The best table isn't in the house either. Or pillow, or outdoor lighting, or sun lounger. But you knew that already. Visit IKEA online or in store to level up your outdoors this summer. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
You don't just check into a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You've finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair. Play different.
18+, begambleaware.org.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes? If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Live Premier League football on a Monday night.
Have we got something special for you?
Setting the gold standard of out-and-out, fully combustible football commentary.
Game night on TalkSport.
The home stretch starts right here, right now.
For Forest, it's about now. You can't slip up.
And Aston Villa have hung on in a real cracker of a game of football here. Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
It's Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 1. Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Game by game, day by day.
They've been there for 33 games for the season, pretty much, haven't they? They've been there all the way. If they were to fall out of the top 5 now, it would be a shame for Nottingham Forest.
And the full-time whistle goes. It is the end of the dream for Nottingham Forest. City Palace in the 2025 FA Cup final.
They started the season as one of the favourites for relegation. Yet here on the 1st of May, they stand on the brink of not only a return to European football, but also a first appearance in Europe's top flight since 1981.
We have to correct ourselves. We have to this is going to be our focus.
I am worried without Hudson-Odoi on one side of the Langer. It's very predictable.
Visser scores, and it's 2-0 to Brentford.
They've had that sticky patch, and it's right at the worst possible time at the tail end of the season.
Well, you're listening to Monday Game Night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes, 18+, begambleaware.org. We are 8 minutes away from kick-off. No Hudson-Odoi tonight, of course. And Forest beaten last time out, lost 3 of the last 4. Nuno's saying, though, I don't see pressure. I see belief, desire and determination when he was talking about his players. But the equation is pretty simple. Nottingham Forest are 6th in the table. Even a win tonight, unless it's a gigantic win, which is highly unlikely, a win tonight won't take them into the top 5, but a win keeps them in touch with the top 5 going in to their last 3 games, which are at home to Leicester, away to West Ham, and then on the final day, and it could be a straight shootout, at home to Chelsea. That could be gigantic for Nottingham Forest on the final day of the season. Let's talk a little bit about Crystal Palace. Actually, I want to talk about Eberechi Eze, who is also known as King Ebs 10 in the world of chess. He's just won a chess tournament. He took 20 grand as prize money for winning it. I watched the whole thing online. Actually watched the whole thing online. And
no comment.
His game is fascinating, honestly. He plays chess like he plays football. He attacks, he's creative, he's quick thinking, which he needs to be against the clock as well as against an opponent. Quick with his moves, clever under pressure as well. Everything about his football game is how he plays chess. The comparisons are incredible. What I will say is his opponent, and they're under time pressure, his opponent in the final went to the toilet, wasted a minute going to the toilet. I couldn't believe it. Lost a significant amount of time. His opponent in the final also made a glaring error, leading to a bishop being lost and a queen being lost in successive moves. So if you apply that to the cup final, Eberechi Eze has got to be on top of his game, and Man City are going to have to make a few errors for Crystal Palace to win the FA Cup final. They have a chance of winning the FA Cup final, which will be a glorious season for Crystal Palace, their first ever major trophy.
I think the game a couple of weeks ago at City showed you the damage Palace can cause. They were a whisker away from being 3-0 up in that game. And all of a sudden, obviously, City got back in just before half-time, which meant the second half was always going to be tough. But Palace can hurt City. Palace can hurt anybody. That cup final is a hell of an opportunity. Yes, they're not the favourites, but you're right. If he's on form, he can win football matches for his team. It's fascinating that sometimes you watch football players, enjoy watching them, admire their creativity and talent, and kind of picture how they'd be off the pitch. And if you'd said to me, you watched one of the Palace players playing a chess tournament online, he would be at the bottom of my list.
Why?
Well, because chess generally, I played a lot of chess when I was young. It's quite a pragmatic, methodical game where you've got a lot of people plan their moves and strategy and all that. He does a lot of stuff off the cuff. So I wouldn't put him as a chess player, strangely.
Well, you know what? The way he plays, it is quite a bit off the cuff, but he has this signature move. Okay, the chess buffs will really enjoy this, actually. Signature move, where he brings his knight out from the back rank and brings it out. And then, at the first available moment, plays it back into the back rank, but centrally. Not out wide, if you like.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So he comes,
protecting the king.
Bit like how he plays. Sometimes he comes in from the wide areas, but it's his signature move, and then he advances his F pawn forward, and it's.
So would you compare him to a knight or a bishop?
I think he could play every position on the chessboard. To be honest with you,
the queen.
I think he's that good. Yeah, I think he is the queen on the chessboard because he can play the ball anywhere. He can run anywhere. I think he's that good. So, but we mustn't underestimate the players up there with him in that front three. Sar's rapid, as we saw in the semi-final.
Revelation.
What a signing! What a signing! There to be. We saw what he was like at Watford, and he was there to be taken. But Crystal Palace, they, by the way, watched their FA Cup semi-final win over Aston Villa back in full last Thursday. which I found absolutely extraordinary. You can hear the fans singing that they're glad all over as the Palace players and the Forest players come out for this Premier League game that Nottingham Forest really have to win, and Crystal Palace want to win as they build up to an FA Cup final. Just stick to football, Dan.
Hey, you got to get carried away on these nights.
Oh, and they are doing in the Homesdale end, no doubt about it. Tomorrow night, Inter Milan against Barcelona's live on TalkSport, 3-3 from that sensational first leg. Wednesday night, TalkSport live in Paris for the second leg of PSG against Arsenal. The Gunners are one down, of course. Game night tonight, Crystal Palace against Forest, who need a win. It's live and exclusive on TalkSport with former England midfielder Danny Murphy alongside the commentator Joe Shannon.
Thanks, Adrian. Good evening to you. And a jubilant atmosphere at Selhurst tonight, because of course this could have been the dress rehearsal for the FA Cup final, but while Crystal Palace will be going to Wembley in just 12 days' time, there is still so much for Nottingham Forest to achieve despite their cup disappointments. But games are running out. At the start of April they were 10 points clear of 6th spot. Now 6th is exactly where they are, 3 points behind Chelsea and Newcastle. Are they running out of steam at just the wrong time, or can they continue their dream of top-level European football for the first time since the early 80s? So here are the teams: Palace, Henderson in goal, Richards, Lacroix and Gehi, the three at the back, Munoz and Mitchell the wing-backs, Wharton and Kamada in the middle, Sarr, Eze and Mateta up front, and the Palace bench: Matthews, Lerma, Nketiah, França, Klein, Hughes, Esse, Chilwell and Devaney. And the Forest team: Sells in goal, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams, Sangare, Dominguez and Anderson, Gibbs, White and Ilanga in support of Wood. Miguel is the substitute goalkeeper, Murato, Awonyi, Toffolo, Jota Silva, Yates, Sosa, Danilo and Bolly complete the substitutes bench for Forest tonight. On a night, Danny Murphy, where it is must win, is it not, for Nottingham Forest in the race for the Champions League? No more room for error.
Correct, yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a numbers perspective, mathematical, but it doesn't rule them out, yeah. But in terms of giving them a platform in the next few games to go in with some confidence and make a really good fist of it. It's fascinating sometimes to watch football where you've got one team who has to win a game and the other team who are free.
They're riding high.
Got a cup final to look forward to, but they want to finish where they can in the league, but doesn't really matter as much. The general notion is that, or the general feeling from the watching eye or the public, is that the one that wants it more that should be enough. And actually it can happen completely the other way, because the pressure builds on that team, and the one that is okay if it doesn't win, because things are they're waiting for the FA Cup final, they play with more freedom. So it'll be fascinating tonight to see how that works.
It's a theme that Nuno has spoken about in the build-up. He says he doesn't see pressure, he sees belief, desire and commitment. No doubt that the desire and commitment there for Nottingham Forest, and we shouldn't forget, Danny, just how well they've done to put themselves in this position anyway.
Nothing but admiration. I mean, surpassed all expectations, even of their own supporters and probably their own pre-season talks. You know, you have chats pre-season and ambitions and targets that you try and reach. You share them, you have a chat about them. Some are unrealistic, some aren't. But to be where they are with 4 games left, because in effect it's in their own hands if they win the last 4.
Yep,
it's in their own
Chelsea
hands.
On the final day.
If they win the last 4, they're in, and they've been in a cup semi-final. I mean, Forest fans would have told you you're crazy.
We are off and underway. Nottingham Forest playing from left to right in the first half. Sky blue shirts, white shorts and white socks. And Crystal Palace from right to left towards the White Horse Lane end of the ground in their familiar red and blue shirts with the stripes, dark blue shorts and dark blue socks. And already Oliver Glasner's name is being sung by the home fans, and the home team are on the attack. Daniel Munoz looking to break down the far side of the field. Nico Williams slides in, and it's out of play for what I think has been given as a Forest throw in the left-back position on the far side in front of the travelling fans, who number about 3,000 or so. That was a coming together between two full-backs, or in Munoz's case a wing-back who loves to get forward, and Williams was just caught by the challenge.
Yeah, I think he's okay. He's had a terrific season, Williams. Can play both sides, as we know. Good athlete, likes to get forward.
And part of a Nottingham Forest back line that has been the basis for so much of what they've achieved already this season. Forest looking to reach Europe for the first time since the mid-90s. Forward by Adam Wharton upfield for Crystal Palace. Ola Aina will clear from the right-back area for Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Live and exclusive here on Talk Sport, and the race for the Champions League is really going to the wire. Eze trying to reach a ball into the penalty area. Aina smuggles it away. It'll be fascinating to see how Forest cope with the pressure in the early stages, as Danny was saying tonight, against a Crystal Palace team who really are glad all over. They won't be feeling any better than they have done all season after reaching the FA Cup final.
Pressure's off. They've had a terrific second half to the season. Obviously they started the season with a disappointing run of results, but they have grown and grown, and this FA Cup final's got everybody here excited and enjoying watching their football. Just on Forest, I think it's interesting to see where Elanga is tonight. He's played centrally a lot recently, in behind Chris Wood. Now he's on the left with Gibbs White looking like he's playing that 10.
Here come Forest on the attack, level with the edge of the Crystal Palace penalty area. It's pulled back to Anderson, who tries an early shot from just inside the box. It cannons away off Lacroix, and then Aina with a speculative effort from distance. He was a long way out on his left foot, and that was easily charged down. Ola Aina, who knows London very well, started his career at Chelsea and had a loan spell at Fulham as well, recently back in the Forest team. Palace 0, Forest 0 is the latest score, and of course this week it's the Champions League semi-final second legs on Talk Sport. Into Barcelona tomorrow night, PSG Arsenal on Wednesday, then Thursday night both Europa League semis, Manchester United against Athletic Bilbao on Talk Sport, Tottenham at Bodo Glimt on Talk Sport 2, and on the same evening our coverage of the playoffs begins on the Talk Sport app with Bristol City against Sheffield United. All of the playoffs live and exclusive to national radio across the Talk Sport network. Anderson for Forest, he's poked it wide left to the far side of the field, and racing onto it is Anthony Elanga. Tries a low cross and it's charged down by Munoz, who will smuggle it clear into the path of Wharton, who was so outstanding, I thought, in the FA Cup semi-final. Eze collects possession in the centre circle, and there's a real zip and confidence about the way that Crystal Palace have started this game, Danny Murphy.
Yeah, but that was great defending one-on-one from Munoz against Elanga. Getting back in and helping his centre half out there do the job. A couple of nice touches from Wharton early on,
Munoz, who has scored 4 times in 2025, his initial cross is charged down by Anderson, who limps up to his feet, and then Williams and Munoz in another 50-50. It's a throw to Crystal Palace on the far side, down the right-hand channel. It's in front of the Arthur Waite stand. Got quite a few pillars in the way in this old main stand tonight, but it's a ground, a venue of terrific character. And here we go, Danny Murphy. Here's one of the long throws.
Love a long throw. We used to have to defend against Rory Delap's long throw, so I'm very aware of how difficult it is.
Here it comes from Richards, long into the penalty area towards the near post, and Gehi went for it. Wharton tries to hit it on the volley, cleared away, then Gehi with a snapshot which is blocked from inside the penalty area. Lacroix with a shot into the near post, and it's gone behind. Not too far away, but it was a tight angle against Sells, and in the end it's out of play for a goal kick, 0-0.
Well, the simplicity around a long throw is that it's one big pass. It's one cross ultimately from your hands. When you throw short, you've got to get a few intricate little passes right to create the space ready to cross it in the same place.
So why not go long, go direct?
Well, you've got to have someone that can do it.
Yep.
Not everyone has, of course, because it's not an easy technique. I don't know if you've ever been on a football pitch and tried throwing the ball into the box.
Not very often, I have to admit. They were known better than Rory Delap, though.
Oh, unbelievable. And they had some big boys to head it in as well.
They did. Fuller and Shawcross and players like that.
Edwin Jones.
Forest have possession out on the far side there left. Williams on the halfway line, little 1-2 with Elliot Anderson. It's 0-0 in the early stages, but a good atmosphere at a sold-out Selhurst Park. Murillo on the halfway line. A reminder that if Forest win, they'll go level on points with Newcastle and Chelsea in 4th and 5th. And here they come with Wood. Right edge of the penalty area, shot from the angle, and it's charged down by Lacroix. First sighter for Wood in the game, and he wins Forest a corner, Danny.
Yeah, Gibbs White's frustrated that he played the ball. Aina played the ball to Chris Wood there. It's really fascinating. He's done this before, Nuno. Dominguez plays on the right, but tucked right in. They're lopsided. Alanga's out far left, and then you've got Gibbs White just ahead of Anderson and Sangara. And then Aina bombs forward more on this side. It's quite clever, really, although I've seen him do it before. It's going to be a little problem for Palace, that.
Anderson's corner out swinging, headed away at the near post by Sarr in front of the Holmesdale Road end, and now Eze can lead the counter-attack. Sarr with his pace, racing down the middle, body check by Dominguez. That'll be a free kick, and it's just inside opposition territory for Crystal Palace, but it will produce the game's first yellow card. He tried to run away from the incident, but he won't get away with it. It is a booking.
It's actually a really good booking.
Yep.
If you're going to take a booking, you know, when they're breaking with the pace they've got, that's a good time to do it. Although you don't really want to get a yellow that early in a game as a midfielder. But I understand completely why.
Only 7 minutes into the game, but you're right. I mean, didn't we see just how effective they can be in transition, Crystal Palace, in the FA Cup semi-final? Eze with the diagonal ball from the free kick. Gehi climbs at the back post with the header back across. Murillo's there to head it away. Back in by Wharton. Jumping is Ola Aina this time. They had everybody back in their change kit tonight. Nottingham Forest, these sky blue shirts and white shorts. You'd be forgiven for thinking it was Manchester City out there tonight. Early ball towards Sarr down the inside right. Murillo steps across with his usual authority. Finds Sangare, the number 6, tall and slender, back to goal. And Murillo with an excellent pass forward to Anderson midway inside his own half. Sweeping ball to the right back position. And Aina. And down below us at the bottom of the main stand, about 20-30 rows of seats between us and the edge of the pitch. Oliver Glasner and Nuno, both with arms folded in these tiny technical areas. The crowd are nice and close to the pitch at Selhurst Park, and that's one of its great features, and it leads to terrific atmospheres, particularly under the floodlights, as is the case tonight. It is 0-0 on Talk Sport, and Aina will take a throw for Nottingham Forest. Midway into opposition territory, he gets it back from Morgan Gibbs-White. Crystal Palace have been one of the best teams in the Premier League since Christmas. Forest have been outstanding all season, but they've lost 3 of their last 4 in the Premier League. Just the wrong time, you feel. Anderson out to Aina again. Tight area, right-hand side. Anderson back into his own half. Milenkovic, the giant centre-half, standing over it with the orange boots on. Anderson now back to Milenkovic, and Anderson pointing the direction where he thinks Milenkovic could play it, and square he goes to Murillo. Now on the halfway line, the ball is knocked downfield by Dominguez and cleared away easily by Munoz. They can break here perhaps Crystal Palace with Wharton. Ball out to the left-hand side, near side of the touchline, and Mitchell, Daichi Kamada with a big diagonal, sweeping high through the air. Munoz plucks it out of the air with his right foot. It just dropped down. Now Sarr towards the dead ball line, wins the throw off Nico Williams. Nice football.
Elanga was actually in. He's made 3 or 4 great runs and they haven't looked up and hit him, but that one they tried to hit him. I think it was Anderson who under-hit it. You're better over-hitting it, because the interception leaves you vulnerable then, but he is making a couple of great runs.
Well, this really is the point of the season where the pressure comes to boil, and can Nottingham Forest handle that pressure in their bid to secure Champions League football? Remember, starting the night in 6th place. Long throw into the penalty area from Richards for Palace, in towards Gehi at the near post, headed away by Milenkovic through a crowd of bodies, almost everybody inside the 18-yard box away to the left-hand side in front of the goalkeeper Sells. It's floated deep in by Mitchell and well taken by Sells, who has kept 13 clean sheets this season, one off the record in a single campaign for Nottingham Forest. Now Ola Aina's carried the ball forward, he's fouled, and it's a Forest free kick just inside Crystal Palace territory.
They had him, he was going nowhere. Kamada comes up behind him and pushes. How silly is that? It's just ridiculous. They had him completely outnumbered. It was a brilliant recovery runs from the Palace players, and Kamada comes and pushes him over, gets him out of jail.
Wasn't going anywhere, was he?
No.
Had nobody around him in a sky blue shirt. Forest, though, do have the ball on the far side of the field. It's rolled into the path of Sangaré, back out wide towards Morgan Gibbs-White, and Sangaré again now feeds Nico Williams. Hugging that far side touchline is Gibbs-White again, back to the feet of Sangaré once more. Long sleeve shirt, little flick by Gibbs-White, can't find a teammate. One back by Kamada, tenacious in midfield, the former Lazio man. Eze back to Wharton, lovely first time pass, left to the right hand side on the angle to find Munoz on the overlap. Early ball in towards Mateta, is headed away, and then Kamada with a long range shot that cannons off the back of Sangaré, and it's a corner to Crystal Palace at the White Horse Lane end of the ground, 0-0.
Yeah, they sprung forward quickly there, all because of the quick pass from Wharton. Rather than dwelling on it and take too many touches, ball falls to him and he just quickly fires a lovely left-footed pass out to that right side where Munoz, willing runner as always. It's that transition, that speed of transition that Palace have. They do it so well.
Adam Wharton will take the corner very close to where the Forest fans are standing, all on their feet. It'll be left-footed and in-swinging. Forest desperately need a win tonight. 0-0. In by Wharton, headed goalwards by Lacroix, and then a real goal-mouth scramble on the edge of the 6-yard box. Forest somehow smuggle it away. They needed everybody behind the ball there to deal with it, and Crystal Palace couldn't quite force it towards goal. Dean Henderson will now pump it long. The former Forest goalkeeper headed away by Elliot Anderson, and they've had to withstand some sustained pressure in these early stages. Nottingham Forest, with Palace looking bright, Danny Murphy.
Yeah, it's a good ball in, isn't it? Lots of bodies in there. Lacroix flicks it on. I think it hits Murillo. And then it's a good old
scramble to get it away.
Scramble, yeah, that's the word. Just need a bit of luck in those situations, but got to get the first header Forest on those corners when they're coming in at such pace. Got to try and first contact, something you work on all the time with set plays. First contact. As soon as you lose the first contact, you're in trouble.
Crystal Palace have got the joint most set-piece goals in the Premier League this season, with 16 coming into the long bank holiday weekend. 0-0 against Nottingham Forest here in the Premier League, live and exclusive on Game Night on Talk Sport. Again, Wharton will take it. They're really crowding. Sells, the goalkeeper, in his bright yellow jersey, right onto the near post with the corner. Not a good one, headed away by Dominguez, who was virtually the first man. It's come back out to Eberechi Eze in a crossing position, right-footed into the near post. Sarr miscontrols it. It drops to Wharton, who dinks it in right-footed, headed away by Wood. That was a much better delivery on his right-hand side from Wharton. Good header cleared by Chris Wood, doing his defensive duty, and Forest have it back in front of Nuno. Aina able to win a throw. It's Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available on no contract with Now, like Palace against Forest live right now. Search Now Sports. And I guess up to this point, Danny, I mean, Nuno would have been expecting a game like this, wouldn't he, given how confident Crystal Palace are?
Oh, he'll know they'll be able to cause them some trouble. Yeah, I think he would have hoped they've settled a bit quicker than this. They've been a little bit erratic on the ball and giving it away too quickly, too often, but you can see that they've got the opportunity to break like now, as and when.
Nico Williams surging forward towards the halfway line. Aina was caught in a challenge earlier on and he's moving a bit gingerly. We'll keep an eye on him. Elanga back to Williams, and the counter-attack really has been halted by Forest here. They go back to the halfway line, and Sangaré in the centre circle, and Crystal Palace have now got everybody in the dark red and dark blue shirts back behind the ball. It's with Sangaré to the feet of Milenkovic, one of the outstanding Forest players of the season so far. Forward by Murillo, high down the middle towards Dominguez, and headed away by the retreating Gehi. Cleared further forward by Mitchell, but it takes a big deflection off Gibbs-White. Drops neatly for Wood on the edge of the penalty area, then a back pass that saw a little bit of hesitation between Lacroix and Henderson. Eventually Henderson took charge, hammers it upfield high into the sky. It'll bounce down on the halfway line. Anderson gets a flick. In the end, free kick given in favour of Crystal Palace on the halfway line.
Not sure what that's about. Looked a very normal, fair aerial challenge there. Forest to go get Gibbs-White on the ball. He's the key. Anderson and Gibbs-White are the two really good footballers in the middle of the, get them on the ball. They can both beat people. They can get you up the pitch. but Gibbs White especially keep firing the ball into him. That's how they get themselves a little foothold in the game, which they're struggling to do at the moment.
Well, Danny and I were at Tottenham a couple of Mondays ago for the Nottingham Forest victory that really seemed like a turning point after a couple of difficult results, but of course defeat in the FA Cup semi-final, and then most disappointingly of all perhaps the way they failed to react against Brentford at the City Ground last Thursday. Brentford are tough team to come up against at any time, in fairness. Good layoff by Mateta, out to the right, and Munoz. It's 0-0, poked onto Sarr in the area, one-on-one with Murillo, who gets across. Sarr's touch a bit heavy, takes him away from goal towards the corner flag, and they're doubling up on Sarr now with Williams and Anderson back there. Gibbs White helping out too. Anderson carries the ball forward expertly away from Wharton. Good sliding interception though by Munoz to win it back for Crystal Palace, who are having most of the possession and territory with 16 minutes gone, but we haven't seen either goalkeeper seriously tested as yet.
Munoz's starting position so high at the moment.
Yeah, he's like a winger, isn't he, basically?
He's like playing right wing, which is great when they've got possession, because it gives Forest a real problem, but as soon as Forest turn it over, they've got to keep trying to get that ball wide to Elanga if Munoz is going to be that far up.
No Callum Hudson-Odoi tonight for Nottingham Forest. We knew that was likely to be the case before the game. Poor ball out of defence by Lacroix, which is won back by Elanga. And Wood, 19 Premier League goals this season, will play it backwards to the left-back position, the far side, and Nico Williams. Williams infield to Murillo now. Murillo, the number 5, just pivots on the ball, turns away from Mateta, finds Williams, infield to Anderson, neat touch to Sangaré, and Sangaré sprays the ball out to the near side, the right, and Ola Aina. 0-0 live on Talk Sport. Forward by Sangaré, high up the inside right, out comes Mitchell, who's headed it past his own goalkeeper, but fortunately for him, Henderson stretched out a leg to get a touch on the back header, and Lacroix was there to clear from the edge of the 6-yard box before it could get anywhere near the goal line.
Yeah, you can see it happening from where we're sat. We're really close to that. Don't think Mitchell saw Henderson coming. Decent ball over the top. There's nothing wrong with those little flicks over the top for people to run onto. It causes problems. Got away with it there, Palace.
Here comes another long throw, this time for Forest, and plenty of aerial ability to aim at. Long high towards Milenkovic on the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed away to Nico Williams with a left-footed drive, charged down by Sarr. That'll ricochet all the way back to the halfway line, and Murillo will need to shepherd it backwards to Matt Sells, and Forest can begin again. It was one of those moments, wasn't it, Danny, that where you could just see Mitchell was so close to his goalkeeper that you felt a miscommunication was coming.
I felt Henderson was running out too fast. He didn't have to come so fast. He could have just come out a bit slower, because then Mitchell would have been able just to guide it. But these things happen, and that's why you've got to play some percentage balls now and again. It doesn't all have to be through the lines and inside, and can go over the top, get some runners, just get that back free turned.
Former Forest goalkeeper Dean Henderson, 18 appearances on loan at the club in the 22-23 season. Gehi comes away with possession now, up to the halfway line, and Mitchell. It's Nottingham Forest away at Crystal Palace, and it's 0-0 with 19 minutes played. Forest, if they were to draw tonight, would be 2 points behind Chelsea in 5th, Newcastle in 4th, and 3 off Manchester City in 3rd. Forest's remaining fixtures, they're at home to Leicester at the weekend, then away to West Ham United. Both games, of course, very winnable, you'd think, for Forest, before a showdown against Chelsea on the final day, which could have all sorts of implications. And Crystal Palace were away at Tottenham at the weekend before the FA Cup final, and Oliver Glasner has said that he spoke to his players about the final for about 30 seconds at the start of this week, and since then everything is focused on the next 2 Premier League games, including tonight. 0-0, Forest over halfway with Williams in the 20th minute. Wanted Elanga, right? But he waited too long.
Yeah, you've got to force the issue, you've got to keep doing it. You won't get them all in there, but if you keep doing it, keeps making the runs, and he's only had one pass tried to be played to him.
Anderson is 10 yards inside the Palace half, and Palace effectively with everybody behind the ball. It's a good compact shape. Murillo playing it in between the lines though to Elanga, who glides forward and rolls the ball out left to Nico Williams to cross, and that is sliced behind under pressure from Munoz, and a goal kick to Crystal Palace.
Commentator's curse complimenting him earlier. about his forward play, but to be fair to him, he is playing a little bit out of position. He's generally more of a right back than a left back. I've actually seen Aina play left back as well. They've swapped it, haven't they, at times?
Well, he has said, Nuno, that the semi-final defeat took a lot out of his players, and you can understand that physically and emotionally perhaps as well. But this is the moment in the season where they have to bounce back, Danny. There's no time for waiting in football.
Absolutely. It's a big, big night for them.
And it is 0-0 as we tick towards the midway point of the first half on Talk Sport. Whatever happens tonight, 03717 223344 to speak to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy in the sports bar from 10. Ola Aina trying to shepherd the ball out of play, it looked like initially, down by the goal line in front of Kamada, but he's had to keep it in and eventually is giving it away to the tall frame of Mateta. He hooks it into the box, only half cleared, drops to Eze on his chest. He couldn't quite bring it under control. Anderson with a long high ball upfield towards Chris Wood, who's held that up well initially for Forest. Lacroix, though, at his back, forces the error, and it's a Crystal Palace throw right on the halfway line.
Yeah, he's got to do a little bit better, Chris Wood. He did the hard bit by bringing it out of the air on his chest and then just miscontrolled it.
Back go Crystal Palace to Henderson in what has been quite a tight, cagey game so far, and maybe a nervy watch for the Nottingham Forest fans on the far side of the field. Crystal Palace have it with Lacroix, who's in the middle of the three centre halves. Richards with the long curly hair, and now Lacroix, number 5. Under no pressure whatsoever as he calmly strides forward towards the centre circle. Mark Gehi, under pressure from Dominguez, will go all the way back to Henderson. Henderson forced into a slightly hurried clearance, but he's chipped it perfectly forward to Mitchell, just shy of halfway. Mitchell wriggles away from Dominguez, but it's out of play at the expense of a Forest throw, right in front of Oliver Glasner. And you can't really believe it, Danny, when you think earlier on in the season they started 8 games without a win in the Premier League, and some people were doubting whether he would be in a job much longer at that point.
Yeah, there was a little spell, wasn't there, where they were really discontented with the performances, and there was mitigating circumstances. We know a couple of injuries and players come. Mateta was an obvious one, back from the Olympics, a bit tired and stuff, but they certainly found their feet, didn't they? And once they did, they've gone from strength to strength, and I think it's fair to say he's now a fan's favourite.
Just a bit. And their greatest day could yet be to come, of course. 12 days' time, and what will be a 3rd FA Cup final in the history of Crystal Palace. Aina down the near side, the right for Forest, and a poor touch by Gibbs White, straight out of play, tried the 1-2. Maybe sums up slight lack of rhythm for Nottingham Forest at the moment. It is still 0-0. They need a win, remember, Forest, to go level on points with Chelsea and Newcastle. They won't go above them unless they win something like 9-0, which, for all the optimism that any Forest fan might have, is unlikely. Down the right-hand side, Munoz in lots of space to cross for Crystal Palace, up towards Eze, headed away, drops down towards Wharton on the edge of the penalty area, out-muscled by Gibbs White, and Forest clear. There was so much space for Daniel Munoz out on that far side. Forest looked long for Elanga from the counter, miscued header by Richards, and Elanga has held it up, and he's played it back to the halfway line. Now Gibbs White turns in the centre circle, pokes it onto Sangaré, back to Gibbs White, lovely football, wriggling his way through towards the edge of the penalty area, and then across came Lacroix. There were just too many Palace shirts around Gibbs White in the end, but that's what he can do.
Yeah, nice and positive, good shape from Palace though, plenty of numbers possible to get through there, nice and tight, good distances between each defender.
Gibbs White is blocked off this time. 24 minutes gone, still goalless at Selhurst Park.
I'd like to see Forest, although this is that we know they don't mind not having the ball, we know they're patient and like to counter. Just like to see them have a bit more courage to try and press Palace on occasion, not every time, but just try and get up the pitch a little bit and get after them. They're so comfortable in possession at the back, Palace, at the moment.
Got a great record, Forest, against teams in the bottom half, though Crystal Palace won't feel like a bottom half team at the moment. Forest winning 8 out of 8 away from home against bottom half teams in the Premier League so far this season.
So they know what they're doing.
They do in games like this.
I'll
usually.
Be quiet then. No, I do understand it. If it ain't broken, don't try and fix it. You know, it's a good record you just mentioned. I just think with Palace having their tails on, I'm quite confident in a minute.
It's almost irrelevant, isn't it? Forward by Anderson, high down the right-hand side, over the top towards the run of Gibbs-White. Only Wood in the middle, early cross by Gibbs-White, looping up to the back post. Munoz with a flicked header only half away. Wharton's there though to win the second ball in front of Elanga. Munoz scoops it long over the head of Sarr, one back by Murillo, quickly forward to Wood, 25 yards out. Nice flick by Dominguez into the path of Sangare. Maybe they are growing into the game now, Forest. They've had some nice touches in the last couple of minutes, Danny.
They are. They're higher up the pitch now because they've played another ball in behind, got Gibbs-White, and the cross was over here when he got in, but it was a great run from him. Another good ball over the top, wasn't it?
Haven't quite got in behind Crystal Palace enough yet. Floated ball up towards Wood, headed away by Gehi at the heart of the back line, and now Munoz steers the ball further forward for Palace, up to halfway. Mateta can't reach it. Got this incredible goal-scoring record under Oliver Glasner, Jean-Philippe Mateta. It's a bit like how well Chris Wood has done under Nuno Espirito Santo. You wouldn't have thought that would be the case a couple of seasons ago for either player, but look where they are now.
Exactly.
Forest coming forward now with Williams threading the ball up the left-hand side, and Elanga is in behind. He cuts it back towards Wood, misses him. Dominguez tries to reach it at the back post. Mitchell did just enough to put him off and clear it away.
That's the ball though. Elanga in behind Munoz. As soon as you get that timing right, he's gone. Decent cross as well. Wood was inches away.
Gibbs-White now poking the ball towards the edge of the D, swept high upfield by Gehi, and Forrester having a good spell. Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. Right now you can get 11-8 if you think Palace will win. The draw is 15-8, and for Forest 9-4. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus at begambleaware.org. On the halfway line is Williams. Lovely touch by Gibbs-White towards Anderson. Half tackled by Kamada, and then Williams got the wrong side of Munoz and was fouled. Free kick to Forest about 10 yards in field, middle of the Crystal Palace half. 0-0, and they're having a good spell as we head towards the half-hour mark on TalkSport.
They are. They've just got themselves a couple of good attacks, sustained attacks. Getting on the ball a little bit more, trying to push Palace back, but it all started, two of their best moments come from balls just played in behind where you've got runners. You know, the Elanga one there and the Gibbs-White a minute ago. It's imperative that you mix your game up, don't just go into feet. You've got to get those back players running towards their own goal and turn.
Well, we've got a cracking week of live football across the TalkSport network. Best way to be across it is to download our free app, and you can watch live shows on the app as well. Gibbs-White, Anderson and Sangare standing over the free kick. Gibbs-White, two arms up into the air, little touch to Anderson to whip it in high, and he's overhit that by miles. One bounce and it's behind for a goal kick.
I'm not sure why they needed the touch first, to be honest, from Gibbs-White. It was all a bit elaborate.
Not his usual quality of delivery.
No, do you know what? Anderson's terrific. I like him a lot. He's been really good for Forest. He was just a bit safe with that one. You've really got to commit to those wide free kicks and really got to get some whiz and pace on them, and even if it goes wrong, fine, but he just floated it, didn't he?
Ball will be cleared upfield towards Sarr down the right hand side for Crystal Palace, trying to play a reverse ball into the path of Munoz on the underlap, but he was blocked off by the retreating Anderson, who did his job well again there, the former Newcastle man.
Oh, his work ethic's tremendous.
Yep.
He really has got an unbelievable engine. He puts himself about.
Didn't we see that in North London a couple of weeks ago?
But he can play as well. I mean, he's got a bit of everything. I like him. I remember listening to Eddie Howe talk about how disappointed he was that he had to let him go.
Yeah. And of course now he's going head to head with his former club in the race for the Champions League places. Good ball out towards Elanga on the Forest left, but Richard saw it coming. The American comes across to intercept. Now Kamada, lip of the centre circle to Gehi, and he's just shy of the halfway line. It remains Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Just under half an hour gone. There's a bit of frustration from some of the Palace fans in front of us in the main stand, with Palace a bit slow to get it forward. Gehi tries to play a big diagonal ball that was easily spotted by Nico Williams and headed away. Forest seeing more and more of the possession now. Williams over halfway, and he might tuck it back in field here. He does to Murillo. Nuno Espirito Santo watching on in a woolly hat and a long dark coat. It does get quite chilly at Selhurst for evening games. Lovely run by Anderson down the inside left. He's raced past 5 or 6 towards the edge of the penalty area, and he's picked out Elanga in a crossing position. Elanga back to Williams. And now out on the left, Elanga again, once more. And the momentum has gone just for a moment as Williams dinks it in towards Dominguez. Hits it away from goal rather than towards it. Brilliant ball in by Nico Williams, but Dominguez,
what is he thinking?
It was a header clear.
He's in on... I mean... It all stemmed from Anderson's brilliant run. They got up the pitch. By the time the ball came in, Dominguez had made a late run from that tucked in right midfield spot. He's only got the keeper to beat if he just keeps flicks the ball on and uses the momentum of the cross. It probably would have went over Henderson. He decides to try and knock it backwards to the edge of the box. There's no one there.
Forest trying to get on the attack again with Wood deep in the right wing position. Eze comes across and wriggles away from Sangare, not beyond Wood though.
Too many touches there from Eze. Mateta was on. I don't know what he's thinking unless he didn't see him, but the obvious pass was on. He's taking... I know he likes to dribble with it, but he had 2 or 3 round him then as it was the time to let it go.
Mateta showed his frustration, as did some of the Crystal Palace fans in front of us. It's Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Sangare's got it right by the centre spot on the halfway line. He jinks away from Mateta, who hasn't seen really much of the ball at all, Danny Murphy, we should say. Not been in the game, has he? Jean-Philippe Mateta so far.
It's been a bit... both sides have been a little bit guilty of giving the ball away a bit cheaply at times. But that was the best chance. I mean, Dominguez there, he's lost his bearings, I think, or he thinks the keeper's going to clatter him, or the keeper, I don't know what. But actually, that cross, although it wasn't the quickest cross and didn't have the greatest trajectory, if you can just help it on its way and the keeper's already coming out, easy from up here, of course.
Well, how they would have wanted Chris Wood to be on the end of that. It was the wrong player almost, with Dominguez in that position, and it turned into a header away from goal. Neither goalkeepers had a serious save to make across the first 32 minutes. Tomorrow night in the Champions League, Inter Milan against Barcelona. What a first leg that was. If they can match it again, we'll be in for some game at the San Siro on Talk Sport tomorrow, and then of course Arsenal going to Paris on Wednesday night. Again, live on Talk Sport. Will be live inside the stadium for that one. Lacroix inside the centre circle for Crystal Palace. Then on Thursday, of course, Manchester United and Tottenham, both in Europa League semi-final second leg action on Talk Sport and Talk Sport 2 respectively. The start of the playoffs, Bristol City, Sheffield United on the Talk Sport app. Jinking forward is Kamada, right corner of the penalty area. Low ball in by Munoz, cleared away by Murillo. And Anderson will try and drift out of defence with the ball for Nottingham Forest. Elanga sweeping pass towards the halfway line. Wharton gets across again. Here come Forest though on the break. Elanga raiding down the left-hand side. Only Lacroix between him and the goal. Elanga goes on the outside towards the dead ball line. Lacroix has held him up for now.
Done well.
Elanga will have to be going backwards. Excellent defending.
Well, he's quick, Lacroix. I saw an interview he did because he played with Van der Ven, didn't he?
Yes, yeah.
And he actually, I thought he was joking, but he said he's as quick as Van der Ven, if not quicker.
Not far off.
In the interview, yeah. Not sure about that, but he looked quick there when he was racing Elanga.
Van der Ven, officially the speediest player in the Premier League, but he won't be far behind. It is Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. On Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Wood chests the ball down in towards the run of Anderson, but it's cleared away. Rent from the best lineup in the UK with Enterprise, which has all the vehicles your business needs with the flexibility to rent for minutes or months. Munoz on the right. And now setting up Wharton with his socks rolled all the way down to his ankles, and Kamada threading the ball wide left to Mitchell on the overlap. High ball to the back post. Munoz turned away by Sells. He came in, ghosted in the back post, and the goalkeeper makes the stop. Now Munoz again pulling it back towards Eze on the edge of the penalty area, and Kamada with the shot high over the top. But for the first time tonight, 35 minutes in, Matt Sells has been forced into action.
Well, wing back to wing back, typical Palace. Big deep cross from Mitchell. Williams has gone in with Sarr, and Anderson's left him. That's a problem for them. When does Elliot Anderson allow Munoz to go on to Williams? These are the little complexities you get with the two different systems, of course. Kept it down well. It was a difficult volley, difficult technique, decent save.
Left-footed from Munoz. He's got some defending to do here up against Anthony Elanga at the other end. He nutmegs Richards, tries to go on the outside of him, right by the dead ball line. Difficult position for the former Manchester United man, and in the end, Palace, who protected Dean Henderson pretty well so far, aside from that inadvertent backheader from Mitchell, managed to shepherd the ball behind for a goal kick, and Forest are yet to have a meaningful effort on target.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me because we've seen it so many times in so many games with Nuno, which is a strength, not a weakness, but I think he might change. I don't think he'd be best pleased with this first half performance. There's been glimpses. I think he might change system and match them up.
They're going to drop points in the race for the Champions League as it stands. Forest would stay 6th, and they'd likely stay 6th anyway, as we said earlier, barring a win of epic proportions in terms of number of goals, but they'd be 2 points behind Chelsea and Newcastle and 3 behind Manchester City, so they would be the outsiders with 3 games to go in the race for the Champions League. Villa, by the way, in 7th position on 60 points with 3 games to go, so only 4 points separate Manchester City and Aston Villa. Arsenal in 2nd on 67. Maybe Arsenal will not finish 2nd this season after all. We will see over the next few weeks, and of course all of the important action live on Talk Sport for you. Headed down by Dominguez towards Wood in the centre circle. Wharton diligently gets across in front of him to win it back. Sarr turns away from 2 in sky blue, races up the middle. Sangaré, did he get the ball? No. Free kick. They want a yellow card, the Crystal Palace fans.
Well, it is a yellow.
But if the Dominguez one was earlier, then that has to be 2, surely. Andy Madley, the referee. Sarr was too quick for them. No yellow card. Well, it should be a yellow, Danny, but it's not been given.
You know, I don't know what he saw, the referee there, because you're right, the earlier one was very, very similar. Got away with one.
In an almost identical position as well, dead centre and about midway into the Nottingham Forest half. Palace playing from right to left in the first half, and Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's injured, is actually watching with the Nottingham Forest fans. He's among the away supporters tonight. The television cameras have picked him up. One of Nuno's assistants is arguing with Oliver Glasner about something. 4th official standing in between the two of them. Free kick to Crystal Palace. Eze with not a great deal of angle to work with here. Where is he going to float this? He floats it high to the right edge of the penalty area towards Lacroix, and the back header from Wood turns it behind for a corner to Crystal Palace in the 38th minute, 0-0.
Yeah, they've been dangerous off these corners.
Here comes Wharton again, and it'll be another in-swinger in front of the Forest fans, just like the 2 beforehand. And again, they're really crowding Matt Sells, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. There are 10 to 12 players maybe inside the 6-yard box. Wharton, one arm up into the air. How's the delivery? Left-footed and in-swinging, close to where the Forest fans are standing, just behind him. 0-0. Wharton delivers into the 6-yard box towards the back post. Gehi headed it wide, but the referee had spotted a foul anyway in the build-up on Gibbs White, and that'll be a free kick. I think it was Lacroix.
It's not a foul. If anyone falls over, they tend to blow the whistle and just point the other way, don't they? It's free kick because he fell over.
If anyone goes down.
There's nothing in that.
Have they looked nervy at all tonight, Forest? And we talked about the pressure, Danny. Maybe nervy is not the right word, but have they looked like they are feeling the pressure a little as Dominguez does win them a free kick?
I mean, it's been cagey. It's been cagey. You can tell they've lost a few games. They don't look as confident with the ball and as creators have we seen them. But that's credit to Palace as well. You know, Palace are a good side here. Yeah. They've had a really good spell, and you can't be too gung-ho against this Palace side, because as we've seen and we've already talked about, the pace of Eze and Sarr and Mateta when you lose the ball, you can't really chase too much to go after. I know I spoke earlier about being a bit more positive because they were so deep earlier. They've got up a little bit now and got themselves back in the game. But you've got to be careful with this front three that Palace possess. They can really damage you. So, in terms of the score, they'll be he'll be pleased, Nuno, but the level of performance needs to be upped a little bit more.
0-0, free kick, right wing position, little touch from Elanga into the path of Gibbs-White, and then he plays a 1-2 with Murillo. Gibbs-White delivers a brilliant cross to the back post, and Anderson into the side netting. Chris Wood felt he was shoved inside the penalty area, and he has his arms outstretched, shouting at the referee. Nothing given, bar a goal kick.
Well, it's good ball in from Gibbs-White, actually. He could... Munoz is grabbing hold of Wood. I think he maybe goes down a little bit. Yeah, it goes down too easily. I actually think Anderson, with his technical ability, if he'd have taken that on his left foot rather than trying to run round on his right, it is a volley coming off a deep cross, and he is away from the far post, but if he'd have just used his left foot rather than his right, he would have been able to get it on target.
Well, the referee, I think, was in communication with the VAR momentarily,
well,
but
yeah.
Pretty quickly it's confirmed that there won't be any penalty, and Chris Wood is still arguing his case. It felt something of a mismatch, Wood against Munoz at the back post.
Munoz put his hand on him and then he fell over. Right decision.
19 goals in the Premier League this season for Chris Wood. The all-time Forest record is 22, as Stan Collymore in the mid-90s in a single Premier League season. A throw that Munoz will take for Crystal Palace midway into opposition territory. It is goalless on Talk Sport here, live under the lights now at Selhurst Park. Kamada midway inside his own half the field, back to Gehi on the halfway line. Now Lacroix with a rolled pass forward 20 yards to Sarr, neat layoff to Wharton, whose touch was heavy, came off Anderson, fell neatly for Kamada. Little bit of fortune there for Palace, works it wide left to the left wing position, and Mitchell delivers a high cross towards Munoz at the back post, and Williams did enough to put him off that there wasn't any contact on it whatsoever. Anderson clears long on the counter for Forest. Gehi gets in front of Wood. They want handball. Forest players and fans alike, they will get a throw over on halfway.
Well, they're shouting for handball, but to be fair to the ref, he's not that far away, and the problem is it is handball, but he can't see Gehi's arm from where he is. Chris Wood's in the way, who's a big lump,
and he couldn't see behind either of them.
Yeah, but you can't give it just because someone shouts. You have to see it as a referee.
Well, they have got a throw out of it, Forest, and Wood has flicked the ball down the middle towards the corner of the penalty area. It's thundered upfield by Gehi. 0-0, 2.5 minutes of the first half to go, plus any added time. It's Murillo with a dink up the inside left, and offside
he was
against Anthony Elanga, who does he look the most potential creative attacking threat? We were right in line with it there.
Well, he's the one who's got the most pace to run in behind. He's been a bit stuck on that left side. When he's played more centrally, you see him pop up on both sides, which can cause a team a problem. I think we might see a little tweak on that as the game goes on and Elanga come more central, but yeah, they've got to keep looking for that, because he's just got that wonderful pace to get in behind. Palace have managed Forest quite well.
Yep. Well, we haven't not had a save to make.
No, and we haven't seen Gibbs-White get on the ball in dangerous areas.
Eze's on the ball now, trying to poke it through to Mateta on the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed shot is cleared away, blocked by Sangare. Now Gibbs-White turns and feeds Dominguez, breaking into the centre circle between the lines, and he nudges it to the wide right, and Wood to Elanga inside the penalty area, turned away by Henderson. Brilliant counter-attack by Forest. Elanga denied by the goalkeeper. Henderson, against his old club, makes a crucial stop.
All started from Gibbs-White. Talk about his creativity on the edge of the box. Great little pass and they're away. Dominguez to Wood, who finds Elanga. He's got to score. He's one-on-one. Takes it on his left foot. He tries to smash it. Just slide it down the middle sides.
Biggest chance of the game.
Best chance of the game. Should have scored. A man of his quality.
Elanga, who hasn't scored since that brilliant individual effort against his old team Manchester United at the City Ground. Header away by Dominguez, and it's a Palace throw midway inside Forest territory. And in key games like this in the race for the Champions League football, you have to take chances when they come.
Well, it was a great counter, their best move by far.
Sarr out to the right, Munoz low cross, steered away by Murillo. Here comes the fourth official. We're getting ready for the added time. I think there'll only be just a single minute at the end of the first half. Wood with a backwards header, and it's not a good one. Eze's won it back quickly to Mateta, can't control it on the edge of the D. Lack of concentration, hacked away by Murillo high upfield. We have just about had the last of the 45 minutes of normal time, and the Crystal Palace fans starting to get behind their team again. It is 0-0, and we do have just 1 minute of added time at the end of this first period.
1 minute of added time. 1 minute.
Lacroix is about 12 yards shy of the halfway line, and he's not even under token pressure from anybody in a sky blue Forest shirt. He goes out wide to Munoz, infield to Sarr with a 5-yard ball. Sarr, the number 7, jinks away from Anderson. Sarr delivers right-footed towards the back post, but Sells was there with good hands before Mitchell, making a late run, could get on the end of it. Relatively even, would you say, Danny, this first half, on balance? You're just looking at the Elanga chance again on the monitor that we've got. It's a big moment, isn't it?
Yeah, he's actually under quite a bit of pressure. I think it's Chris Richards who fires across to try and stop it. It looked when it was live that he had a bit more space. He didn't, he was rushed into the chance. I still think a bit of a side foot would have been a better option into that near post. He's going to try to go across the other way with a bit more power, but decent save from Henderson.
And that the best chance of the first half, which has now come to an end, and as it stands, Nottingham Forest will drop points in the race for Champions League football again. Anthony Elanga put clear on goal after a fine counter-attacking move, but Dean Henderson stood up to make the save against his old club. At the other end, Crystal Palace have looked a threat at times, even if Mateta, Sarr and Eze haven't seen a great deal of the ball. Their best chance fell to wing-back Daniel Munoz, who has been in good goal-scoring form in 2025, but he was denied by Matt Sells. Nuno Espirito Santo marching down the touchline towards the tunnel in one corner of the ground here. A big half-time team talk coming up for him. It is Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
And just ahead of Nuno, Oliver Glasner was deep in thought, staring at the turf as he walked towards the tunnel to get into the dressing room at half-time. And I think around about halfway through that first half, Danny Murphy, Joe talked about a lack of rhythm for Forest. You could probably say that about both sides in that first half. How do managers at half-time go about trying to encourage their sides to find that rhythm?
Well, I think there'll be small little tweaks for both based on the tactical plan being different. So I think Munoz is getting the ball too easy at times, in too much space, so there'll be a little conversation with Anderson and Williams, and maybe even Elanga a little bit, because he's not doing any defending back there. He's leaving it to which will be deliberate, but I think he's getting too much joy down there. He's looking, it's too easy to get the ball out to him, so I'll be looking at stopping that. In terms of Forest going forward, we saw very little of Gibbs White, partly because of Palace midfield being aware of him and stopping the balls going into him. But I'd be tempted to say to Gibbs White, go where you want.
Yeah.
Pop up wide.
Express yourself.
Come deeper. I mean, the best move they had was when he got the ball on the edge of the box and found a pass out. But I think just give him a bit more freedom to go and create and cause damage, and maybe even swap him with Elanga for a bit. Let Elanga come and join Chris Wood, because Elanga, he's got in there on the breakaway, fair enough. But even when he gets in with that pace really wide, still takes a great cross or another bit of skill to beat someone. Whereas if you have him more centrally, which is why he's played him there a lot, really, you've seen him play there behind Chris Wood, if they can get through balls centrally for his pace, then he's in. And I think tonight, it's not for Forest really, I think the level of performance is secondary to the result.
Oh yeah.
Dig in, stay, you can't really come to, not many teams come here and dominate and cut Palace open. They're really well organised, you can see that. So I think Forest, maybe a couple of little tweaks, but ultimately you need your best players on the ball more often to create, because that's the first save he's made, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it was straight at him really from Elanga. He should have done a lot better with that. Before that, I wanted to ask you about that Dominguez header after half an hour. So he's made a great run, he's in space in front of the goalie with nobody between him and the goalie, but he's got his back to goal, and he's watching the ball float towards his head, and for all the world it looks like he's just going to give it a lift on over Henderson and into the back of there. It's made for that, for him to flick it on, and he can see that there's nobody to head it back to, but he heads it back.
All I can think is he's lost his bearings a little bit, and also because the ball was quite slow, he's waiting for it, so whether he thinks, I'm going to get hit by the keeper, or or he thinks he's gone past the goal, because he's looking backwards, it looks like he's lost his bearing, because my instinct is always when there's a ball coming and I'm somewhere near the goal, I'm just looping it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change the trajectory of the ball, hoping the keeper's coming, because he didn't know where the keeper was.
No.
But to head it back was a strange one.
Well, your voice in commentary, you were very shocked at what happened. It was a major surprise, no doubt about it. You say we haven't seen much of Gibbs White, and this reminds me a little bit of the first half of the FA Cup semi-final that Forest lost, because he didn't let them play with any freedom. It was all very organised, and tactically it felt wrong, and they got better in the second half at Wembley that day. But Morgan Gibbs White, you're right, you're talking about that chance for Elanga where he picks the ball up on the edge of the box, turns, gets them going forward. This is what I love about Gibbs White. I think he's actually had quite a good first half. I think any kind of creativity has come from him. I'm a big fan of his, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but Man City are meant to be interested in TalkSport's reporting that in terms of maybe replacing Kevin De Bruyne, maybe adding to their squad in a different way to what Forest are using Gibbs White. I don't know, but for me, he has to get on the ball more. But I'm so impressed with this footballer this season.
Listen, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I really am. I think he's a super bright footballer. The problem is, when you play as a 10 with two central midfielders behind you, you rely on service. If you start dropping too deep to get on it yourself, you're just coming into their play, and then you're turning to play to who? The options aren't there. So he's keeping his position well. But I've seen him play under Nuno, a central midfield as well, and do the deeper one. He's more than capable. But in this position tonight, he's relying on others to get him the ball. Where I've been a little bit disappointed him, and it's very rare I am, on the times he's given the ball away more tonight in the first half than I've seen him do in a long time. Sloppy little bits, miscontrol, or the pass out play here, or the ping out wide where he underhit it. Those little details which he's set himself such a high bar. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but no doubt he could come out and be the best player on the pitch second half. Absolutely.
I think you're just watching and you know he can play better than that.
Yeah, maybe.
He set that standard.
Set the standard.
Yeah, absolutely spot on.
But you could argue the same for Eze.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Eze's been ineffective.
Yeah, and there's times when you're thinking, he's on here, he could do something here, and he hasn't done it.
Exactly.
So they both can play better, and maybe those two number 10s are the key to what will happen in the second half. On game night on TalkSport here at Selhurst, it is Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
A Minecraft movie has arrived in McDonald's Happy Meal. Help your little ones build their own adventure. Explore the overworld and meet exciting new friends. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 6th of May from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. While stocks last, fair ordering policy applies. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
The best seat in the house is no longer in the house. It's outside with the sound of birds chirping overhead. The best table isn't in the house either, or pillow, or outdoor lighting, or sun lounger. But you knew that already. Visit IKEA online or in store to level up your outdoors this summer. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. So don't get stuck behind a sea of brake lights that grinds your day to a halt. Why waste your time when we can cut through the congestion to get you what you need fast? More time working, less traffic frustration. Screwfix Sprint, delivering in as little as 20 minutes. Just $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
At Betfair, we relish the plot twists that football's tense run-in delivers. With titles, promotions and relegations on the line, the form book can take a back seat and the drama has the power to rewrite scripts. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Valid for 72 hours on Football Accas or Bet Builders. Min combined odds of 1.5. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Like Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest live today. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
When Monday night comes, listen to Game Night.
What a goal!
No one does football quite like this.
It's goal time. Game Night on TalkSport.
Inter Milan will go to Madrid, and Jose Mourinho's moment has come again.
That was what it meant then. It means just as much now for the class of 2025. And Dumfries is there to volley it in. It is 2 for Inter Milan.
They don't need to be the better team to win this tie. They just need to have 15 good minutes, capitalise, and then just batten down the hatches.
Yamal with a dancing footwork into the penalty area. Curling shot, magnificent. He is something special.
This is why we love football.
Yamal leaves it to the edge of the D. Hammered into the net by Rafinha.
Rafinha's not just a great player, he's a great leader.
Champagne football in the Champions League. And the first leg ends 3-3. A vintage match, a classic.
I still fancy Barcelona to go through.
Barcelona is still the favourite because of the quality they have and because especially Inter are missing Lautaro Martinez.
One of the most dramatic of European nights on TalkSport.
Well, after I went to Field Mill to watch Mansfield batter Peterborough last Tuesday, I got in the car, I was listening to our commentary of the end of that first leg. It was thrilling. And TalkSport's Scott Minto was on commentary. He sounded astonished when your host, Hugh Wozencroft, suggested Lamine Yamal shouldn't be given man of the match. It was like Hugh had said Scott's mum was rubbish or something. Scott sounded so offended. Now, watch the game back. Lamine Yamal was so good. He was man of the match. But Hugh was right in one way. Inter were also brilliant. It was a goal of the season competition in one game. More to come tomorrow night, live on TalkSport with the second leg. 3-3 from the first leg. Joe and Scott are back on commentary for that. We could do with Palace and Forest channeling the spirit of that first leg here tonight. It's goalless on game night. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds of 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Yeah, 0-0. You can get Crystal Palace to win at 17-10. The draw is 13-10, and Nottingham Forest to win at 13-5. Chris would score any time. Was 5-2, now 11-4. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Odds update on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Yeah, Inter Milan Barca tomorrow night on TalkSport from 7. And on Wednesday we'll be live in the Parc des Princes as is Paris Saint-Germain against Arsenal. The Gunners are 1-0 down from the first leg. Listen, they score in the first minute and we're all square, and who knows what's going to happen. Let's wait and see on that one. That's live on TalkSport Wednesday night from Paris. Danny Murphy, let's talk a little bit about a Liverpool player deciding to leave for nothing, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Jamie Carragher has said this evening, quote, "I'm not angry, I'm disappointed." Is that his dad or what? He says, actually, my view on this is that it's very similar to Jamie's, actually. Trent has the right to do what he wants with his career. We're all agreed on that. He can do whatever he wants. But if you make certain decisions, then he may be criticised. Liverpool are one of the best teams in Europe. They're regular Champions League contenders. They're English champions. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is choosing to go to a Champions League rival on a free transfer. So he's got to expect he's going to get a lot of stick for that, yeah?
I think you can expect to get stick if you're a Scouser, you play for Liverpool, winning everything you've won, and you move to any other club in the world, by choice you can expect to get stick. I don't think he should be getting stick because Liverpool didn't get any money for him, because that's Liverpool's fault. I'm adamant on that. I mean, why would you allow a player of that quality to run his contract down? You could sell him with 2 years left, you could sell him with a year left, you could make him an offer and say, if you don't sign it, we're going to cash in.
Yeah, that's what they should have done.
Then you can put all the blame on Trent. No problem with that. I would understand fans' frustration if that had happened. It hasn't happened, so that's the club's fault. I do understand frustration from certain supporters around a player like Trent, who's had so much success at the club and is a local lad, leaving. I get it, but I am a bit wiser. I've played. I am a Liverpool fan. I don't think I'd have done it. I don't think I'd have ever left Liverpool, even if I was as good as Trent and had that opportunity. I don't think I would have, personally. But I understand it, because he's lived in the same area all his life. He's only known one thing. He's won everything there is to win, and maybe he just thinks, I'll never have this opportunity to do something different with my life again. And we're not all the same. You know, Stevie G stayed, but he nearly went. He nearly got tempted for different reasons, I know, you know, especially in the first time he nearly went Chelsea because Rafa was basically wanting the money for him. But overall, I think the majority of Liverpool fans, and we've seen this already in the title celebration, will wish him well, and will applaud him and sing his name on the last day of the season.
If they draw Real Madrid Champions League next,
can you imagine?
I cannot wait for that moment. It's going to happen at some point, surely. Let's wait and see. Danny, thanks for that. It's time for the second half. Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Has either of these managers been able to find the rhythm for their sides in this second half? Live on Game Night on TalkSport, here's Danny Murphy and Joe Shannon.
Thanks, Adrian, and no half-time changes for either side, but as it stands, Forest will lose ground in the race for the top 5 and Champions League football as Palace get the second half off and underway. Left to right towards the two-tiered Holmesdale Road end, which of course is where most of the really vocal Palace fans are, and Mateta with a chance straight away on the edge of the penalty area, out-muscled by Milenkovic, and Nottingham Forest will clear. And not a good clearance by Murillo, straight to Kamada. Palace in the dark red and dark blue striped shirts, dark blue shorts and socks. And Nottingham Forest playing from right to left in the second half in sky blue shirts, white shorts and white socks. So both managers resisting the temptation to make half-time changes. Dean Henderson will belt the ball long up to the midway point of Forest territory. Well won back by Sangare, and now Morgan Gibbs White can dart right down the middle to the edge of the area. Slips in Elanga on the left-hand side, tries to clip the cross back towards Gibbs White, and Maxence Lacroix is there to turn it behind for what is Nottingham Forest's second corner of the game. Danny Murphy.
Well, it was one of the few times we've seen Gibbs White having all that space to run at the back three. Takes the decision to pass it to Elanga. I think actually, with hindsight, maybe should have used a little bit of skill and had got a shot off himself, but good start for Forest.
14 set-piece goals they've managed this season. Milenkovic, who's scored 4 from corners, is up for this one. Dinked in by Elanga, headed away at the near post by Sarr for Crystal Palace. It wasn't the best delivery, and then there's a foul on Kamada anyway, so Crystal Palace have a free kick. 0-0 the score. The FA Cup finalists against the team who still have great hopes of reaching the Champions League, but as it stands, Forest would be 2 points behind both Newcastle and Chelsea, and another point further adrift of Manchester City.
You say that though, I mean, a draw's not the end of the world. 2 points behind. Chelsea and Newcastle play each other next week.
Very true.
And they play Leicester.
Very true. And Forest still have Chelsea on the last day of the season to come. The two teams, Henderson is the Palace goalkeeper, Richards, Lacroix and Gehi, the centre-halves, Munoz and Mitchell, the wing-backs, Wharton and Kamada, the two in the middle, Sarr, Eze and Mateta up front, and for Forest, Sells in goal, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams, Sangare, Anderson and Dominguez, Gibbs, White, Ilanga and Wood. Anderson can only half clear, Sarr tears into the penalty area, lays it square, falls for Mateta, couldn't quite get it under control, and Murillo and Milenkovic between them do enough to clear it away for Nottingham Forest, but Palace have won it back, attacking the Holmesdale Road end in the centre in the second half. Eze delivers a cross right-footed, that'll drop all the way to the back post in the left-hand side. Tyrick Mitchell keeps it in play, plays it back towards Daichi Kamada, and here is Lacroix just forward of the centre circle. Palace hoping to come on strong in this second half. They've actually won more points away from home this season than here at Selhurst in the Premier League, but they've got a throw, led with the edge of the penalty area, and these could be difficult moments in the game for Nottingham Forest. It's 0-0, 3 minutes into the second half, and a clumsy foul by Anderson with Eze going away from goal gives Palace a free kick. Yeah, I thought about taking it quickly, but they won't, Danny.
Yeah, I expect a bit more intensity from both teams second half, actually. It was a bit scrappy, wasn't it, first half? They had little spells each, 10 minutes each, and then a bit of scrappy play.
They found Munoz from the free kick with a good cross, and Sarr heads it wide. Difficult header at the near post. He was about 10-12 yards out and couldn't quite direct it on target, but that will get the fans going again.
Well, there's nothing wrong with putting crosses in there. If Forest aren't prepared to get pressure out wide, whip it in there. They've got some good headers of the ball.
Sarr, who scored twice in the FA Cup semi-final with a thumping header that he couldn't direct on target. The substitutes for both teams: Matthews, Lerma, Nketiah, França, Klein, Hughes, Esse, Chilwell and Devaney on the Palace bench as Wharton gathers the ball and plays it on to Eze, about 35 yards from goal. Quick ball deflects into the path of Sarr. What a good save by Sells, so quick off his line to spread himself at the feet of Ismaila Sarr, keep out the Palace man and keep Nottingham Forest level. And now they're on the break at the other end. Ola Aina down the right with a low ball towards Wood, and Wood could be clear, and Wood has rolled it wide. Two massive opportunities, both big misses. Sells with a huge save at one end, and then Wood somehow rolled it wide. He might have been denied by the deflection off Lacroix. He was. It's a corner.
Well, firstly, Chris Wood's got to score. He dances round the defender and he tries to whip it back the other side. A little deflection off Lacroix's leg for a corner. The other end, Sarr, great move from Palace, beautiful intricate play. He ends up one-on-one with the keeper, but I have to say the speed where Sells comes off his line to block the Sarr chance. I think he wanted to lift it over him, but brilliant from Sells. He's had an outstanding season.
Palace 0, Forest 0. Corner whipped in by Anthony Elanga, headed away, and Adam Wharton will scoop the ball up into the dark night skies now. Kamada's plucked it out of the air. The game feels like it's opening up here on Talk Sport. Crystal Palace on the attack, but Ola Aina will sweep it away just about from Jean-Philippe Mateta. Nico Williams then punts the ball down the inside left. Chris Richards trying to get in front of his man, and he beats Elanga to it. That has the Palace fans out of their seats in front of us here in the main stand. It's got Oliver Glasner applauding, but it's opening up, Danny Murphy, and it's suddenly become a much more intriguing game early in the second half.
Well, you can hear the fans appreciating it. Two great counter-attacks, really. But that was, we can see it. We're so close to this end of the pitch, but Sells was electric off his line.
So quick.
I thought Sarr was right to take a touch and just wait and try and lift it over him, but the speed he came off his line.
Crossing by Sangare, bounces over the top of Wood and through to Dean Henderson. Sells and Wood, both 33 years of age and both having career seasons, really. Sells looking for a 14th clean sheet in the season, which would be a record over a Premier League campaign for any Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. Munoz, really entertaining game now, it feels like. The Forest right back Munoz has found Sarr again via a deflection. He scampers infield, he's threaded it square to his left, and Kamada's angled ball wide on the far side is Mitchell. Palace fans get to their feet behind the goal. Mitchell from the dead ball line wins a corner. Well, it could go either way, Danny Murphy, at the moment.
Yeah, end-to-end stuff. And it's understandable Palace are going to have it. We talked about their lack of need, if you like. They'll want to win games to finish the season strongly and have momentum for the cup final, but there's no pressure on them, so they should come out and go after Forest. Well, that will leave space for Forest to counter.
They need 5 points, Palace, to make this the club's best ever Premier League season. Corner into the near post is headed away. Really poor from Kamada. He almost had to stoop to head that clear. The first man, Williams, there was nothing on it, and an easy header away. The Forest bench, by the way, Miguel, the goalkeeper, Morato, Awonyi, Toffolo, Jota Silva, Yates, Sosa, Danilo and Bolly. There'll be a long throw coming into the penalty area here from Richards. We're sat to the right of the halfway line, close to the Holmesdale Road end, which is where the action is right now. Long throw, Richards towards Lacroix at the near post. Little touch across goal from Gehi. It's cleared away by Murillo. Eze very calm to bring it down, the number 10, and play it back to Munoz. And here come Palace again. Down the left goes Eze, raiding forward towards the edge of the penalty area, getting the return ball from Lacroix, pulling it back towards Mateta, away from goal, and Murillo able to intercept and clear. 0-0.
Good defending from Murillo, read the pullback from Eze, nice and positive, good run from Eze, beating a couple of people on that inside left channel.
The tempo's really picked up here. Mateta back to goal, Sarr on the edge of the D, looks for Mateta again, but again the pass isn't quite right. Milenkovic scoops it up into the air this time, headed forward by Anderson. Wood on the halfway line, lays it back to Gibbs-White. It's quite frenetic now. 8.5 minutes into the second half. Lovely touch by Elanga into the path of the underlapping Nico Williams, into the penalty area, cuts it back towards the left of Elanga, behind Elanga, and Nuno hops up and down in frustration as that Forest attack loses its momentum a bit.
Correct. Didn't look, he played it blind. There was no space for the overlap there, really.
And now Palace have got everybody in the red and blue behind the ball. Elliot Anderson out on the near side, the Forest left, infield to Williams, cuts it back to Sangaré, and 0-0. We are now into the 10th minute of the second half, live on Talk Sport. Deflected cross up towards Gibbs-White on the left corner of the penalty area, plays it back to Nico Williams, who delivers high towards Gibbs-White, and Wood was lurking as well. It's diverted away from danger by Richards. Now it'll drop down to Williams, a long way out with a low shot, and that is easy for Dean Henderson, who's right behind it. There's a stoppage here because is there a problem for Wharton?
Yeah, he took a whack a couple of minutes ago. He was over in the attacking half and he managed to get himself up and get back, but looks like he's going to be okay.
Former England midfielder and keen chess player Danny Murphy with us tonight. I never knew that until before the game.
I played a lot as a kid, yeah. I don't know why really. I can't even remember who got to me. I think it was my old man got me into it.
Is chess a sport? 03717.
Well, you can have a beer while you play, so no, not really.
And Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, is here tonight, and Wharton is moving okay again. And 0-0 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available on no contract with Now, like Palace against Forest live right now. Search Now Sports, and I guess you can have your say about whether chess is a sport on the sports bar later, but I'm sure you'll want to have your say on tonight's game as well with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy once we're done here, and we'll try and bring you some manager reaction as well.
Is it me, or do we see Tuchel a lot of the London stadiums? Or am I being a tad cynical?
Well, he knows London very well, of course. Munoz for Crystal Palace, back to Wharton, little nudge to the feet of Sarr, who wins Crystal Palace a throw midway into Nottingham Forest territory. So Forest would be 2 points off the top 5 if it stays like this, but as Danny says, Newcastle and Chelsea have got to play each other. Forest have got to play Chelsea themselves. Sarr with the cross to the back post. Mitchell there. Can he turn it in? They want a penalty after the challenge from the defender. Nothing given by the referee. And Oliver Glasner cannot believe it. Arms outstretched. It was Dominguez with the challenge on Mitchell just as he looked like he was about to score into an empty net, and no penalty given. Oh, this is a big decision in Nottingham Forest season, potentially for the referee to make, Danny Murphy. Does Dominguez get to the ball?
I'm not sure they'll change that. It's not clear and obvious to me. It's a great ball from Sarr.
I don't know if checking, I think, are they, VAR?
Yeah, I don't know if Sells.
And he's going to check the monitor, and we know what will happen here most likely.
I'm not sure if Sells caught him after the initial touch from Dominguez.
Well, it was a fantastic cross into the penalty area. Tyrick Mitchell at the back post, and was there a telling touch, as you say, Danny Murphy, from the goalkeeper that might lead to a penalty being given?
Yeah, see, I think the first one's okay. That's not a penalty.
Dominguez and then Sells.
Nah.
I think when Sells gets the touch, Mitchell's already on his way down, is he not?
It's not a pen.
Well, usually what happens at this point is that the on-field decision is reversed, and the referee is watching replays of this again and again and again on the pitch side monitor on the far side, and usually when the monitor checks, it's reversed.
Mitchell gets the first touch, and then he's falling anyway. So I don't even think Sells catches him. It's not clear and obvious.
The referee has given the penalty, and Nottingham Forest here in real danger of going behind in a game that they feel they really need to win. It's unclear at the moment whether the decision's been given against Dominguez or Sells. But either way, Nottingham Forest really need their goalkeeper again here. And Sells is going to get booked, so the decision is obviously against the goalkeeper.
I don't think it's a pen. I'm amazed they've changed that. It's not clear and obvious to me.
Well, can Sells redeem himself?
He might have collided. He's going over.
Is it because Mitchell gets the first touch? Is that
maybe there's a little coming together? But I think he's on his way down, like you said. I don't think that's a penalty.
Eberechi Eze is going to take it, and Matt Sells hopping up and down on his line, having conceded the penalty here. As we tick towards the hour mark on Talk Sport, a crucial moment in the race for Champions League football.
I'd understand if he'd given the pen, because there is a little coming together, but not much, if any.
Well, there's a delay now because the referee's having words with Milenkovic and Mateta, and Milenkovic stepping into the penalty area, I think trying to delay the taking of the kick. Of course, Crystal Palace missed a penalty in the FA Cup semi-final. It was Mateta who put it wide at Wembley, and so Eze is on penalty taking duties here. It's going to be a straight run up from the edge of the box. How Nottingham Forest need their goalkeeper Matt Sells here. Eberechi Eze now angles his run up, trots forward slowly, right footed, puts it past the goalkeeper, who guessed the right way but was beaten by the power. Eberechi Eze for Crystal Palace again, and now Nottingham Forest have got all sorts of problems in their fight for Champions League football. It's Palace 1, Forest 0.
Yeah, I think some of the Forest players are going up to the referee saying that he's stuttered his run and then stopped. But I'm not sure. I think that rule changed for a while. I think you're allowed to do that now. Chris Wood saying to the referee, he went forward, then back, then forward, then back. I'm not sure what the rule is on that. I think you can stop, and I think you can stutter now.
It was a very stuttered run-up. I don't think there's any sort of backward step, but maybe that's what Nottingham Forest are arguing. I don't think it's going to change anything. And Palace are going to make a substitution, having gone 1-0 up. Off goes Wharton, and on comes the ever-reliable Will Hughes. So it's Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Penalty given away by the goalkeeper, who guessed right, but was then beaten just by the fizz and the pace of the strike.
It was a great penalty. I'm not sure that's a pen. I mean, we only get to see a couple of replays. Obviously, people at home might see it more, but doesn't look much in that to me at all.
It'll be fascinating to hear the views of Nuno Espirito Santo after the game, especially if that ends up being a critical goal in terms of the result. The applause you can hear is a standing ovation for Adam Wharton, who's walking down towards the tunnel. Might be a slight injury concern that for Crystal Palace, and of course they won't want to take any risks with the cup final.
No, not good to see him going down the dressing room early, but at least he's walking.
Well, now Selhurst Park is rocking, and maybe Nottingham Forest are rocking in their bid to reach the top 5 in the Champions League. Remember, 3 defeats in 4 in the Premier League coming into today. They've only scored 4 in their last 5 Premier League matches. It's a real test of character now with just under half an hour to play. Forest would be 3 points behind Chelsea and Newcastle, who are both on 63. Chelsea in 5th, Newcastle in 4th, and Forest 4 points behind Manchester City in 3rd, and all this would be with only 3 games to go. I think Ramon Sosa is getting stripped and ready to come on in Forest's change kit as Murillo plays a good ball high over the top, down the inside left. Elanga's done brilliantly to keep it in. It's deflected into the path of Williams, chopped down by the challenger Munoz, and he's lucky that's just outside the penalty area. Free kick in a dangerous position and a yellow card for Munoz. Well, it's a real test of their character now, isn't it, Danny Murphy?
It is, but in a way they can have a real go for it.
Yeah,
it's, they're losing, so just throw a bit more caution to the wind.
Well, Sosa we think is going to replace Dominguez very shortly.
Yeah, Dominguez has been ineffective, really. Not really sure what he does in that. He's tidy, he's neat, but he's not a wide. To be fair, he's not a wide man. He's asked to play in that inverted right midfield role, but he's not contributed too much.
And this free kick is level with the penalty spot, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Anthony Elanga will take it right-footed. He could almost fizz this in towards goal, and he nearly did it. Tipped away by Henderson, a flying save to keep Palace in front 1-0.
Yeah, he should save it from there, to be honest. It's good ball in from Elanga. Really dangerous, but he should be saving that, yeah.
Another corner to Nottingham Forest in front of their travelling fans this time. Delivered in by Anderson, headed away at the near post, comes out to Nico Williams, edge of the box with a low shot, deflected in! It hit Murillo on its way through, and Nottingham Forest are level. What a response, and my how they needed it. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1, struck low by Williams, and it took a big touch off Murillo before flying beyond the wrong-footed goalkeeper.
Sometimes you need a bit of luck in this game, and they've just got one there, or you could argue we'll have to see the penalty again later, but they'll feel hard done by with the pen. But they've got a bit of luck to get back in it. It's a decent ball in. First header from Palace to the edge of the box. I like the fact that Williams took his time, took a touch, rather than slash at it one touch. Takes a nice little touch on the edge of the box, fires it back in. And Murillo actually deliberately kicks it towards the goal. Great little touch from him.
It's very clever.
Yeah, I thought it deflected off him, but now we're seeing it back. He's got his back to goal, he's helped it on its way. It's a clever little touch.
We actually, you're right, should give him more credit than initially. It didn't hit him. No. He's turned that in.
He's turned it in, yeah.
And it is 1-1. And we spoke about test of character for Nottingham Forest, and they are showing that they've got it. 1-1, 20 minutes into the second half on Talk Sport. They've made the change following the goal anyway, Forest. Sosa for Dominguez. This is just the start of lots of thrilling live football this week on the network. Both Champions League semi-final second legs. Inter Barcelona tomorrow, PSG Arsenal on Wednesday on Talk Sport. Thursday night, both Europa League semis. Man United against Athletic Bilbao on Talk Sport. Tottenham at Bodo Glimt on 2. And the same evening, we'll start our coverage of the playoffs. Nothing quite like it. Bristol City against Sheffield United, only on the Talk Sport app. So make sure you download our app. You can watch live shows on the app as well. Every playoff game live on the network. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1. And Forest with the position in the game now, 20 minutes into the second half, where they know they could turn it around, but Munoz for Palace has found Eze on the edge of the penalty area, took a deflection off Aina. There were very hopeful appeals from the Palace fans for handball. It certainly wasn't going to be a penalty, that. And Anderson has won a throw for Forest in their left back position. Maybe the momentum of the game can change in Forest's favour now.
Well, they've put Elanga out on the right this time. Ramon Sosa's come out to the left. It's going to be interesting to see if they change the shape at all. It doesn't look like at the moment.
Well, last time they were in London, Nottingham Forest, they won at Tottenham by 2-1. It's 1-1 here at Selhurst Park as we head to the midway point of the second half on Talk Sport. Sangare hoists the ball high downfield up towards Chris Wood. Good and he's play. Held that up brilliantly to nudge it towards his right in the centre circle. Neither Elanga nor Gibbs-White could get there. One back by Lacroix. still has the feel of a game that is quite stretched, much more open and entertaining, Danny Murphy, than the first half, I think you'd have to say, as Eze is fouled on halfway.
Yeah, I mean, the goal always provokes a reaction from the opposition, but even before the goal, when they came out second half, there was a bit more intensity, a bit more zip, a bit more bite about both teams.
Sangare's been yellow carded here for the foul on Eberechi Eze.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to be careful now. He got away with that one in the first half, probably why he's got that one there.
Nuno Espirito Santo watches on, arms folded on the edge of his technical area. Good noise from the Forest fans on the far side, waving red and white scarves. Their team have drawn themselves level pretty quickly. There are only 4 minutes between the Eze penalty and the Murillo equaliser.
Big goal, that is. Big goal. The point for them here after with next week's fixtures are really not the worst thing in the world.
Munoz plays it back to Richards, just inside Crystal Palace territory. Richards now into the centre circle, and Eze tucks it forward towards Sarr. Murillo in the way again to nudge it clear up into the air. Anderson will roll the ball down the left-hand side. It was a clearance really from the halfway line, more than anything tidied up by Lacroix to send it back to Henderson, whose clearance hangs in the air for an age. It'll somehow, no, it won't stay in play. Assistance given a throw to Forest. They're right in front of Nuno Espirito Santo. It's Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1. The latest odds with Ladbrokes right now, 12-5 for a Palace win. The draw 17-20 and Forest 29-10. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+, begambleaware.org. Not a great touch by Aina on the right-hand side, but he's still in control of it now. Right corner of the area, back to Anderson. Anderson delivers to the back post. Munoz only half away. Sarr back to Hughes, nervy touch, and Hughes with an excellent clearance in the end to find Eze. Suddenly it's 2 against 3 on the counter. Eze skips beyond Sangare, who lunged in dangerously. Eze 25 yards from goal. Munoz to the right, first time cross, not a good one away by Murillo.
Although he lunged in a bit, Sangare made a brilliant sprint back there to get to Eze and give Aina a chance to get back as well. It was really good midfield play, doing the hard yards, and then even when he had a little nibble, he got back up and he got himself in a good position.
Former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy with us tonight. There'll be a throw for Crystal Palace down by the corner flag on the near side. They're away at Tottenham at the weekend before the Cup final, and Forest are at home to Leicester, then away to West Ham, and then at home to Chelsea. Still with a great chance of Champions League football. The gap to 5th and 4th at the moment, Chelsea and Newcastle, 2 points. Richards ready to take the long throw by the corner flag. We're coming towards the last 20 minutes. It's hoisted into the near post, headed away. Hughes chests the ball down on the edge of the box, back out wide to the centre-half Richards, who belts in a high cross to the back stick. It's well kept in play by Sarr, to be honest, and he's done well to win the corner off Ilanga too. A corner that really came out of nothing in the end for Crystal Palace.
It's a decent cross actually, a bit deep, but what a touch from Sarr to keep it in, stop it going out corner.
Showing exactly why they're such a tough team to come up against.
They are, they've got a spring in the step, haven't they? They've got pace everywhere. Very athletic side, Palace.
Some aerial threats as well that Nottingham Forest are bringing everybody back to deal with. It's very crowded in front of Sills' goal mouth. Corner to be taken by Eberechi Eze, right-footed. It's a dink into the near post, header away, drops to Munoz, back to goal, lays it across towards Kamada, away from Sangare, deflection on the shot, hit Anderson, and Murillo can't prevent it from going behind for another corner, this time on the near side, and they're getting really raucous now at the Holmesdale Road end behind the goal. Both teams could end up winning this.
It's a poor header from Sosa, wasn't it? Headed it across his own box.
Not away from danger,
no.
Right back into it.
It's hard coming on a sub into a frenetic game sometimes. I do feel for him, but he's got to get with the pace of it quick.
Well, they've got 2 of the 3 centre-halves. In fact, all 3 have gone to the back post here. It's Will Hughes with the in-swinging left-footed corner, right underneath the crossbar. Header away by Sangare. Comes back to Hughes, right-hand edge of the box. Back to Kamada with a first-time right-footed delivery, swinging away from goal. And a heavy touch by Mitchell. And now Anthony Ilanga can break. His touch was heavy too. And Eze was back helping out Mitchell to send it back to Henderson. He would have had a long way to do, Ilanga.
He did enough. Fortunate though, because you wouldn't want to run that far back with Ilanga, would you?
Absolutely not. You wouldn't fancy your chances against one of the quickest players in the Premier League. Williams goes long for Nottingham Forest, and it's only half-headed away by Richards. Sosa can't bring it down though, scooped upfield by Lacroix and controlled by Anderson in front of Sarr, midway into the Crystal Palace half. Deflection on the pass, but Forest still have it. 1-1 the score on Talk Sport, with 18 minutes plus added time to go. 037 17 22 33 44 for the sports bar once we're done. Sangare rolls it down the middle. It's steered away by Lacroix. Not a good clearance, to the frustration of the Palace fans. Straight to Murillo. Now Ola Aina. Forward to Anderson. Middle of the Palace half. Back out to the right, the far side. Aina again on the halfway line. It'll only take one goal maybe to win it for Forest, Danny.
Absolutely. Doesn't look like they're settling for a draw, does it?
They are masters of the single goal victory. It was a lovely crossfield pass by Murillo out to the right, and Morgan Gibbs-White, who scampers back into his own half to keep control of it. There'll be changes for both sides shortly. Eddie Nketiah and Ryan Yates getting ready to come on shortly, we are told.
Yeah, Sangare will be coming off. He gave the ball away a minute ago, and Nuno was watching him, was fuming.
He's spot on. That's what we're expecting. Expecting Mateta to come off for Palace. We'll confirm that in a moment. Nico Williams, left corner of the penalty area, onto the right foot with the shot, well blocked by Munoz, who knew what was coming, knew that Williams wanted to cut inside. Sarr breaks, tripped by Williams. Here comes another yellow card, this time for the Forest fullback.
Yeah, I think what he's saying to the ref is there was a coming together. He didn't actually mean to trip him. We're just watching the replay now. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a yellow card. That's why he's so angry. You can normally tell from players' responses, to be honest.
Well, the big contentious decision in the game is the Crystal Palace penalty, which...
Well, they must have given it. There must be really clear contact from the goalkeeper. But watching it a couple of times back that I got the, ability to do here, it didn't look like it affected the outcome at all.
Well, the PGMOL has released its statement. VAR checked the referee's call of no penalty for the challenge by Sells, recommended an on-field review, deeming that the contact was a reckless trip. So the referee gave a penalty and a yellow card to the goalkeeper. Reckless trip. In the centre circle is Gibbs-White for Nottingham Forest. It's 1-1. Anderson tries to glide towards the edge of the D, stumbles. Kamada comes in to win it back, and Anderson tried to wrestle it off him. The referee played the advantage because Palace have it. Sangare blocks off Eze, having been nutmegged.
Nuno's going mental. Get him off, he's saying, because he wanted that done a few minutes ago. He did slip there, to be fair. It was a great little bit of skill, wasn't it, from Eze?
Eze. Would Sangare have been worried there for a moment, Danny, heart in mouth?
Not really, no. You can't send a second yellow for that.
Well,
he's allowed to stand his ground anyway.
He's going to come off in a moment anyway.
So he should quick, because Yates is a perfect replacement anyway in terms of his tenacity and legs.
Here come the changes. So, as we expected, Mateta, who actually has been quite quiet tonight,
he has,
replaced by Nketiah, who's been a regular off the bench this season, the number 9.
I think credit to Murillo Milenkovic for keeping him quiet, because he's such a handful.
But he's not had much. You haven't really seen Mateta with he's not had a clear sight of goal.
Same with the Palace back three. They've been really well organised. Very hard to make chances against them and get in behind them. Forest have rarely troubled Henderson.
Ryan Yates, Forest through and through. On for Sangare with less than 15 minutes to go. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1 on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. And Nuno still standing on the edge of the tiny technical area with his arms folded. Oliver Glasner's come out to watch as well from the dugout. The ball is played back to the Palace goalkeeper Henderson. At the moment, 1-1. It feels about right. Forward by Richards, takes a big hit off Sosa and flies out of play for a throw. Can Forest carve out the chance that would send them level on points with Newcastle and Chelsea in the race for Champions League football? Sliding in is Gibbs-White, and Yates pokes it onto Elanga. Elanga immediately accelerates and is fouled by Kamada just forward of the centre circle.
That's not a yellow either.
And it is, according to the referee.
when you watch this back, I haven't had the chance yet, but what you'll find is Elanga, as he runs past Kamada, he just puts his body there. It's not. It's who you interpret initiates contact.
Has he painted himself into a corner here, the referee, because of the yellows that he's given?
But he doesn't have to give a yellow for every little nudge or foul. It drives me mad, honestly.
Oliver Glasner, I think, was making that point to the fourth official. It's a free kick to Forest. It's only 10-12 yards into Palace territory. It's whipped in by Gibbs-White towards Wood. Good header away by Gehi, hit by, well, Anderson mishits it on the volley, swing and a miss. Left-footed, Munoz comes away with possession. Hughes, lovely Cruyff turn in field away from Milenkovic, and a high ball over the top that's towards Nketiah. Ola Aina got across in front of Nketiah, did have a head start. Then Murillo just thunders it forward. Smacks it long up to the halfway line. Mitchell gets there, blocked off by Gibbs-White. Another foul and surely another yellow card. If we're to go by the consistency of the referee, it is another booking.
I mean, we've been here at this game. It doesn't feel a nasty game. And how many yellows have we had? I mean, Gibbs-White is saying to him there, look, I've just stood my ground. He does well, Mitchell. It's a foul. It's not a yellow card. He's dishing them out like confetti, isn't he?
Well, you're absolutely right. 2 yellows for
But you said the point,
Palace.
he's making a rod for his own back, and he's putting all players in jeopardy now of sendings off.
Well, that's 5 Forest players booked, Danny, now.
And how many Palace have you got?
2 for Palace, so seven bookings in it. Nah, doesn't feel like that kind of game at all, as you say. Now he's having a word with Gibbs-White, who's protesting his innocence.
Yeah, because he's saying all I did was stand. I think Murillo's got a problem, hasn't he?
Yes, he does. Here come the Forest physios. Andy Madley, the referee. And the game is stopped with the score 1-1, 11 minutes to go. And Forest readying Morato here, who would be a ready-made replacement, and it's a real concern for them to see Murillo looking like he might have to come off. He's standing up, and he's got the 2 physios either side of him. That's why there's the delay to the game. Not sure whether it was the result of that thunderous clearance he put in a few moments ago. And Forest are going to have to make the change. One of their talisman is coming off here.
He felt something.
Morata.
The best case scenario is some form of cramp, but the way the physio just pulled his hands like together and then apart, as if to say it's something, he felt a little pull or something.
I hope it's not a hamstring or something like that. Here comes Morato for Murillo, one Brazilian for another.
Morato's done all right anyway when he's come in, to be fair.
Yep, he's been a regular off the bench this season. Murillo still hasn't actually left the pitch. And they are going to get Morata. No, they're not going to get Morata on before the free kick's lofted into the box. Flick on by Gehi. They're temporarily down to 10 here, Forest. It's 1-1, 10 minutes to go on Talk Sport. Chris Wood clears acrobatically, and now Sosa can try and dart down the left-hand side. Mitchell there to win it back on halfway. Still temporarily down to 10 Forest. Here is Sarr playing it through the middle. Eddie Nketiah, angle tight, rifles it over the top. That was ambitious.
I don't know what Nketiah's thinking there. I know he's just come on and give him the benefit of the doubt because it's hard, but if you're going to shoot early, you go back post, or you take the touch with all that space and you wait and see what your options are.
Now he's
onside, I think.
He is, yeah, he is.
I mean, that's high, wide and handsome near the near post.
He's never going to beat the goalkeeper from there, is he? That kind of angle.
Strange decision.
You'd have to catch it very well. Only Premier League goal on the 25th of February, Eddie Nketiah. 1-1 the score on Talk Sport. 9 minutes remaining. Champions League to come tomorrow night into Barcelona. PSG Arsenal on Wednesday. Manchester United and Tottenham live on the network in the Europa League on Thursday, as well as the start of the playoffs. Bristol City against Sheffield United on the Talk Sport app only. Make sure you download our free app, easy to download. You can swipe between all our stations at your leisure. You can watch live shows as they happen on the network. Ryan Yates for Forest has given it away to Hughes, who snaps it up. He was caught late by Aina. Referee plays the initial advantage. Then there's a second foul on Kamada. So that's definitely a free kick.
Has Aina already been booked?
Ola Aina has not been booked.
He'll probably book them both then. Yates is definitely getting booked. because that was a booking. He's pulled him back on purpose. It all stemmed from Yates giving the ball away, actually.
Yellow for both, you're right.
Yeah. Why not make it 11? He's only got, 3 to go?
Not many left.
He's made a problem for himself, the ref, because he's given so many stupid yellows.
And they've multiplied in number, haven't they, in the space of just a few minutes?
Well, there has been some fouls, cynical ones, and he's right to card them, but the little comings together, he's just found himself in a real predicament where he's just non-stop.
7 Forest players booked. 1-1, free kick, 8 minutes to go, and the free kick to Crystal Palace. Eze, he's walked away from the ball when the referee had blown the whistle, and he's swapped places with Mitchell. It's only about 20 yards into the Forest half. Mitchell square to Eze, lip of the centre circle, floats it high on the diagonal towards the corner of the box. Mark Gehi spins and hooks it into the area, and the header over by Lacroix at the back post as the two centre halves nearly combined to put Palace back in front.
What a touch. Diagonal from Eze to the far left stick. Gehi pulls it out the air and does a little swivel at the same time. Brilliant, and then ends up putting a brilliant cross in. Falls to Lacroix at the back post, and he can't get over it. Half a chance that for Palace.
Only goal for the club came against Manchester City in December. It stays 1-1. Forest will be 2 points adrift of the top 5. Elliot Anderson raiding down the left-hand side if it stays like this at least. If they win the game, they'll be level with the top 5. Anderson now with a right-footed cross into the box, headed away by an unchallenged Gehi. And Eze forward to Nketiah. Neat little flick towards Kamada, but he can't quite get there. Too much on it from Nketiah. I get the feeling there'll be one big chance left in this, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got probably a good 10 minutes. Palace are going to go for it, which leaves them susceptible, of course.
And no pressure on Crystal Palace, really. Although they would, as I mentioned earlier, love to make it the club's best ever Premier League season in terms of points. 49 points 3 times is the record in the Premier League. They're on 45 and 46 at the moment, technically, with the score 1-1. Now Hughes, middle of his own half, across to Richards, and he's about 10 yards shy of the halfway line. Richards, early ball up the inside right, and Nketiah, a willing work runner, gets there in front of Milenkovic. Fouled, was he by Milenkovic? Yep. The assistant flags. Milenkovic with the touch on Nketiah. Is that going to be another booking?
I don't know why he's whinging. That's a ridiculous foul. It's a good ball down the channel for Nketiah, who's made the run. Gets his body in between the ball. Shoulder barges him in the back. Foul.
No yellow card given in the end.
Well, it's not a yellow card, but the point, yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nice surprise, you mean? But it was a silly foul, wasn't it?
He's going away from goal, Nketiah, isn't he? Unlike Milenkovic. Everybody back for Forest. Free kick close to the corner flag. 5 minutes to go. A goal for either team could win it here, and there are plenty forward for Crystal Palace at the Holmesdale Road end. It's Will Hughes, left-footed, to really whip this one into the 6-yard box. Good header away by Yates. It'll drop down to Eze, though. Right corner of the penalty area. Nervy moments these in Forest's season. 1-1. Hughes infield to Eze, close to the edge of the box. Eze chips it over the top. It's a lovely ball. Lacroix to steer it home. He's blocked off from a tight angle. I think Milenkovic turned it away before the goalkeeper needed to make the save. Now Yates for Forest knocks it out of play. It's a Crystal Palace throw. It's 1-1, and they're finishing the game the stronger.
They are. Absolutely they are.
Daniel Munoz ready to take a throw. 1 or 2 Palace fans heading for the exits, but not many. Sarr trying to wriggle his way beyond Williams. It's been won back by Munoz, who's blocked off by Morato. Quite scrappy now towards the end of the game, into the last 4 minutes plus added time. Maybe there'll be a Palace change coming up shortly. I think there will be. It's going to be Jefferson Lerma to take to the field. We'll see him on in a moment, but here is Sarr for Crystal Palace. Oh, poor layoff back towards Munoz, out of play. And it's going to be Eberechi Eze that we're expecting to come off very shortly.
He's been better second half, Eze. In fact, the whole game's been a bit better second half, more going on. bit more intensity about it, a few more moments of magic.
And it's not actually Eze, it's Kamada leaving the field on a yellow card. And that makes a bit more sense, I guess, Danny. Straight swap in midfield there. Lerma comes on and they leave Eze on with 3 minutes plus added time to go. Sports Bar on the way once we're done here at Selhurst. 03717 223344. Headed by Elanga for Nottingham Forest. It reaches the centre circle, but Mitchell's there to win it back for Crystal Palace. Playing from left to right, definitely finishing the game stronger. Sarr raiding down the near side, whips in the cross. It's overhit, it's poor flight, goal kick.
It's unlucky. At least he's trying to whip it with pace and put it in a good area, just overdoes it. He's done well, Mitchell, tonight.
Yeah. Won the penalty, and has done plenty more besides.
Yep.
But I get the sense, Danny, you think that if they do get a point here, Forest, it's not a bad result for them by any means because of the fixtures that they've got and the fact that Newcastle and Chelsea have got to play each other.
Well, you'd look at it and think, well, next week you'd fancy them strongly to beat Leicester. And obviously Chelsea or Newcastle's going to drop points or both. And then it puts them in a wonderful position with 2 games to go and Chelsea to play on the last day. But they haven't got the point yet.
Eze, left corner of the penalty area, shuffles infield and shoots! Off the bar! What a curler, right-footed. Sells was beaten, but it's hit the crossbar and gone over.
Well, I think every fan and every pundit here knew he was going to cut inside and whip one on his right foot, and he did exactly that. So hard to stop. It's a brilliant effort. Hits the crossbar, but got away with it, Forest, because allowing him to come inside there, asking for trouble.
It just didn't dip enough with 90 seconds to go plus added time. And that Newcastle-Chelsea game will be on Talk Sport, by the way, this Sunday at midday, it's worth saying. Newcastle against Chelsea, that arguably the game of the weekend, you'd have to say.
Yeah, I think it is.
And Forest will play Leicester on Sunday on the same day. So just as Danny said, if they can get a point here, then they could find it turns in their favour by the weekend again, potentially. But maybe they can get all 3. They've got a free kick. It's midway inside the Palace half, a couple of yards infield, left-hand side, plenty forward with 40 seconds of normal time to go. Elanga, the only man standing over the free kick. Palace have brought everybody back. Elanga to whip it in high and looping. Punched away by Henderson. He was clattered into by Wood. And he's got the free kick, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, not the best ball in. Forest have been disappointing the last 10 or 15 minutes. I know Palace have been good and going for the win, but I mean, Sosa's come on, not offered anything, has he?
No.
Just thinking who else he's got on the bench there.
Jota Silva.
Awonyi could have come on maybe.
Yep.
Gone 2 up and hit the pair of them and play off them and give them a bit more of a problem, but
8 minutes of added time.
That's for the 74 bookings he's had.
Really trying to. I mean, I guess there was a long VAR check, wasn't there, for the penalty?
Yeah, true.
Still work out where that's come from. The 8 added minutes at the end here on Talk Sport. So 1-1, and either team could still win it. Crystal Palace without the pressure on the shoulders of Nottingham Forest. Munoz has found Sarr, right edge of the penalty area, low ball in, only half away. It'll drop to Lerma on the edge of the box. Back out wide to Munoz, forward to Sarr, with a right wing crossed into the near post, only half cleared. Eze on the turn, can he get the shot? And he does! Tucked in by Nketiah, but the flag is up. It will not count. Small margins. Eddie Nketiah offside.
The question is here, when the cross comes over to Eze and he makes space for himself to shoot, does Nketiah even need to be touching it in? I think he probably does, but maybe not, you know.
Was it going in anyway?
Eze has a shot from the left side of the box across the goal. Nketiah sticks his leg out, he is offside. That's not going to be a problem for Forest.
And you might have been able to hear the noise over the PA. The goal will not stand and it stays 1-1 as Some kind of problem for the assistant referee on the near side. Not sure if...
Oh, they are winding us up, aren't they? Has he got a problem on his technical kit on his left arm?
Looks like
with
it.
6 minutes to go, does it really matter?
Apparently so. Everything's got to be as it should.
My God.
Something under his shirt on the forearm.
Batteries have ran out.
And so that's being dealt with. 2 minutes through 8 added at the end of the game, and it's Palace 1, Forest 1. Palace thought they'd nicked it right at the end, but Nketiah was in an offside position. And you had the same thought as me, Danny. I thought, did he need to touch it? But I think it was going wide.
Probably,
anyway.
But it's hard to tell from our angle. The only thing you could say is once he'd made the space for himself, he's pulled it a little bit, Eze. Normally you'd expect him just to get that on target himself.
There's his penalty. Murillo with a quick equaliser, 1-1. And for Nottingham Forest, it looks like being a point in the race for Champions League football. They'll stay 6th in the table. Still, the assistant, I don't think, has sorted this problem out. So the delay continues, and now they're looking at the other side of the shirt.
It's just ridiculous.
No idea what's happening here. It is some sort of equipment. Maybe it's something to do with his earpiece. But
he's only got to stick his flag up or not if there's an offside.
Well, we've already had 3 added minutes, and this delay's taken up at least one of them.
What's going on?
I think he's ready to go again, the assistant. Maybe it happened as he stuck the flag up really quickly in the build-up to this disallowed Nketiah goal.
Well, he got it right, to be fair to him.
He did. Nketiah was quite clearly offside. Right, now we're ready to go again. So 3.5 minutes into 8 added. Who knows how long to go, though? I reckon 6 maybe still. The ball is belted long by Sells, and then the header away by Richards, fouled by Chris Wood, who had that big chance, of course, remember, before all of the goal-mouth action, all in terms of goals scored. And other than that, we haven't seen a lot of Chris Wood tonight. In theory, halfway through the 8 added minutes, but there'll be more to come. 1-1 on TalkSport. The sports bar follows us. High ball for Palace downfield, headed away from the left-back position by Nico Williams for Nottingham Forest. So there'll be 2 points adrift of Newcastle and Chelsea. And Chelsea in 5th, Newcastle in 4th. Nottingham Forest trailing them with 3 games to go. Nketiah down the Palace right, looks to set up Sarr. Palace still probably look the more likely as Milenkovic steers it out to play for a throw 5 minutes into added time. Taken quickly, and now it's poked onto Munoz in the area with a low ball in. It's hit Nketiah via the touch of Sells and gone wide somehow. In fact, he's given a corner, the referee.
Well, you said they look the more likely. Quick throw in, Forest switch off. Munoz again. Sells, actually, the cross comes across, he dives down, he pushes it against his own defender, and it goes out for the corner.
It must have hit Milenkovic.
You see, the problem you've got for Forest right now is Gibbs White's the one tracking Munoz. Who's doing what? Who's picking him up? Are the wide men or not? Because they're getting outnumbered if Elanga and Sosa aren't coming back.
Forest are on the ropes into the 6th of 8 added minutes. Drifted in the corner by Hughes into a very crowded 6-yard box. Sells, punches, comes back out to Hughes from the angle, and a looping curling effort that kisses the roof of the net on its way over the top. What a goal that would have been. Palace threatening yet again, but it stays 1-1, and now Milenkovic is down.
Elliot Anderson heading that as well, by the way. He's been terrific. Yeah, Palace have been the better team late in this game. But the balance of Forest has got wrong. I mean, the back 4 against the 3, and then you've got the wingers, Munoz, who doesn't stop, and Mitchell on the other side. Sosa and Elanga, who are doing that job at the moment, have got to track them. It can't be Gibbs White coming from a number 10 position over to track Munoz. That's Milenkovic down, isn't it?
So both centre-halves, or at least the centre-halves who started the game, Murillo first of all, and now Milenkovic in a bit of trouble here. After that scramble in the 6-yard box, not sure if he was caught by his own goalkeeper or by Jefferson Lerma amid the melee of players through that corner. We'll have added time on added time. We're in the 97th minute, 8 were added. We had that long stoppage because of the assistant referee stuff, and now Milenkovic is down being treated here. It's 1-1. And it'll be interesting to see who the happy of the two managers is at the end of it all, Danny, because maybe Oliver Glasner will be thinking we should have won, and Nuno...
No, it'll be Nuno. He'll be the happier. Getting a point where they haven't played that well. They've scrapped. They've had little spells in the game, but they've not been great. But they've dug in.
And the next two, Leicester and West Ham, are the two they really need to win.
Well, they'll feel they can win. Yeah, I mean, there's no giveies in this, in this division, but certainly Leicester they'll expect to beat because they've been struggling like mad.
And Milenkovic is still being treated here. This is a worrying sign for Nottingham Forest, and was Morato signalling that either he might need a new shirt or that he might have to come off. I think he's saying maybe he needs a new shirt, Milenkovic. There might be blood on it, and so the rule is that the shirt has to be changed, but
Lerma's elbow it was caught him in the nose a little bit. He's a big tough centre half. Get up, son, come on.
Well, he's not up yet, and there's still treatment here for Milenkovic, and still nowhere near the end of the game here. There could be 3 or 4 minutes of added time still to go. We've nearly played 98.
Well, the worrying thing is, don't they have to bring him off as well?
An ironic cheers as Milenkovic gets to his feet. He will have to come off temporarily. And no sign of any substitution. Milenkovic makes his way around the edge of the pitch, and Forest will be temporarily down to 10 men. He's had some running repairs, maybe some blood from the nose, maybe he will need a change of shirt. It's 1-1 on Talk Sport. We're now in the 9th minute of added time. 8 were added, but maybe 2 or 3 still to play.
Call me a bit cynical, but I don't know why he's going down when he got a little wet. It wasn't that bad a whack. I know his nose is bleeding a little bit, but you're going to have to go off for 30 seconds. When you're trying to fight, just stay on your feet and carry on.
And so they are down to 10 men as Palace come forward on the attack with Sarr. Well tracked by Anderson, who makes a good tackle. Flicked by Sarr towards Nketiah. Diving header away by Yates, who was caught. Free kick to Forest. Milenkovic should be able to come back on. We have now played 9 minutes of added time. 1-1. And the sports bar coming next. Forest fans, you'll want to have your say. Palace fans likewise. Forest 2 points behind Chelsea and Newcastle, both who meet at the weekend in a game live on Talk Sport on Sunday lunchtime. So Forest still right in the hunt for Champions League football, but not jumping level with those two teams at the moment. Sells belts the ball long, slips as he does so, hence the ironic cheers. Is there time for the latest of late winners? In the 100th minute, over the top towards Wood. He's brought it down, could fall for Wood again, or even Sosa, but Mitchell is there to clear for Crystal Palace. It's a Forest throw away on the right, 10 minutes into added time. And maybe 1 or 2 minutes still to go.
He's been the best player for me, Elliot Anderson. Been terrific.
Made some crucial interceptions at
his energy, honestly.
Ability on the ball as well.
Both. Yeah, he's been terrific.
Mitchell sees his pass forward, intercepted by Anderson, who thunders it high downfield towards Elanga. Header away by Chris Richards. Now in the 11th minute of added time. There was a late challenge on the far side by Sosa on Mitchell. Forest get the throw on halfway. 1-1 into the 101st minute of the match. And there must only be seconds to go now. Aina hoists a long throw downfield. It's towards Chris Wood. Could drop for Elanga inside the penalty area. Away by Mark Gehi. Slightly nervy defending from Crystal Palace. Anderson's ball forward is straight to Munoz, who clears up towards Sarr. Sarr's touch. Referee plays the advantage. Lerma in possession. Gives it straight to Yates. Maybe he shouldn't have played the advantage there, the referee. Here come Forest on the attack themselves. Into the 102nd minute. The ball is at the feet of Ryan Yates. He's midway into Palace territory. He's gone backwards to Aina. The score is 1-1.
Yeah.
And we are very near the end here. The referee's looked at his watch. Anderson to Wood, back to goal. Lays it out wide to Williams. Is there one last chance for Forest to get into the box? Gibbs wide over the top towards Chris Wood. Headed by Lacroix, and Henderson is there to catch the loose ball. 11.5 minutes into added time. Can you believe it?
I know. I think Palace have been better the last 20 minutes of the game, to be honest. But I think Forest work ethic and fighting spirit probably just about deserve a draw. Just.
Henderson clatters the ball long, still the whistle doesn't go. Header away by Williams, and now Anderson on halfway trying to juggle it forward, absolutely tireless. Hooked downfield by Hughes, and the game does end in a draw, and Nottingham Forest find themselves 2 points off the top 5 places with just 3 games of the Premier League season to go. There was a little coming together at the very end there, I think, between Morato and Nketiah, who has actually been yellow carded in the aftermath, as has Morato. So 2 more bookings at the end of a game where Andy Madley was very quick to produce the yellow cards. It has all calmed down now, but the upshot of it all is that Forest stay 6th in the Premier League, 2 points behind Chelsea and Newcastle, 3 behind Manchester City in the race for the top 5, but it's not necessarily a bad point for Nuno Espirito Santo's team, because Newcastle play Chelsea at the weekend and Forest are at home to Leicester, so it could well turn around for them by the end of the weekend. But ultimately, when you look at their recent Premier League form, some may see it as 2 points dropped. A spirited Crystal Palace display, Eberechi Eze with a slightly controversial penalty to give them the lead, Murillo with an almost instant response. Chances came and went at both ends, Eze closest, hitting the bar with a right-footed curler, and it ends here at Selhurst. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
So make a note in the diary, this Sunday 11 a.m. game day exclusive with Reshmin Chowdhury, and TalkSport has live exclusive commentary of a big game for Nottingham Forest that they're not even playing in. Newcastle in 5th against Chelsea in 4th. I'm on Sunday session duty this weekend, straight after commentary of that game, and Nottingham Forest face Leicester at 2:15. You'd expect them to win that. Now, if there's a winner in the Newcastle-Chelsea game and then Forest do beat Leicester, Forest back in the top 5. They then face a trip to West Ham and a home game against Chelsea on the final day, which could be absolutely gigantic. But Danny Murphy, that's how important the point was for Nottingham Forest tonight.
I think after recent results, Aid, coming away from here with anything is a bonus. You know, they looked at times a little bit ragged, not as fluid as we've seen them. They had some good spells in the game, don't get me wrong, but a point here at a Palace who are playing full of confidence and got that cup final to look forward to is not a bad point. And they dug in, because when they went a goal down, you think they're probably thinking, here we go again. And they got the goal back early, and they had some moments. The Chris Wood chance second half. I don't think he'd be happy with the subs who come on. They didn't particularly enhance Forest at all, and Palace grew stronger as the game went on, and it took some good goalkeeping, some last-ditch defending to keep them in it. But right now, at this stage in the season, with the games they've got left, I think if you'd have offered him a point before, he'd have taken it.
Especially after going 1 down well. That's one of the keys. The penalty was very strange. You went through it in detail, but just to briefly mention that, the referee has been told to go to the monitor. He's had a look at it again, and he has seen something clear and obvious that we can't. So there's nothing, I can't see anything clear and obviously wrong with his decision. So that warrants a better explanation than PJ Morrell gave.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for the high bar. You've heard we've talked about that before, and giving referees as much control as we can. So unless you see something blatant, I mean, I only saw it back a couple of times, 2 different angles. Nothing clear and obvious there to me. I was bamboozled. I was amazed that they overturned it, because normally they say to us, don't they, we're high bar. I don't see it clear and obvious, Aid, honestly, I don't. Maybe I need to see it back again, I don't know.
No, I couldn't either. I agree with you on that. It has finished 1 apiece. Time now for us to pick out man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
So Forest in 6th. They're on 61-2 behind Chelsea and Newcastle. Who is your man of the match from tonight, Danny Murphy?
Well, I thought there was some good defensive displays from both teams, actually, but I'm going to go for Elliot Anderson, because I thought he was the one player in Forest's team who was trying to get on it and also his defensive work and energy and everything about him. I loved his performance tonight. Again, I've seen him play a lot this season. He's been terrific. So he would edge it for me, but some good defenses. Mitchell was good. All the centre-halves did okay. You know, nullified both attacks, but Elliot Anderson for me was everywhere.
Not the lino. Thought he was really good at the end. Kept it going for us. That was our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Danny Murphy, thanks very much. You're back on Talk Sport with White and Jordan, 10 a.m. Wednesday?
Yep, I am. Look forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Live football on Talk Sport every night this week. Here tonight, Forest needed a win, got a draw, but by the end of the weekend, that point could well see them back in the top 5. Eze thought his penalty was checkmate. Forest deflected equaliser meant they both shook hands for a draw, and at least they don't have VAR in chess. Sports Bar next, 03717 223344.
Monday game night on Talk Sport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18+ gambleaware.org.
The best seat in the house is no longer in the house. It's outside with the sound of birds chirping overhead. The best table isn't in the house either. Or pillow, or outdoor lighting, or sun lounger. But you knew that already. Visit IKEA online or in store to level up your outdoors this summer. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game, cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
A Minecraft movie has arrived in McDonald's Happy Meal. Help your little ones build their own adventure. Explore the overworld and meet exciting new friends. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 6th of May from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. While stocks last, fair ordering policy applies. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You've finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair. Play different.
18+, begambleaware.org.
Experience. It's knowing that all holidays are different. That's why Saga Travel Insurance now has 5 cover options to choose from, with no upper age limit and cover for most pre-existing medical conditions, so you can pack the right policy to go with you. Whether you're planning a weekend city break, a week in the sun, or the trip of a lifetime, search Saga Over 50s Travel Insurance for a quote today. Saga. Experience is everything. Provided by Strenska Insurance Limited.
on 1089 and 1053 medium wave. On your mobile and on your smart speaker. Talk Sport on 1089 and 1053 medium wave. On your mobile and on your smart TV.
Late night sport with full throttle bottle. The only place on the dial for triple distilled, hand-poured football talk. Try the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara on Talk Sport.
All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening.
Good evening and welcome to the Sports Bar on Talk Sport. I'm Jamie O'Hara, over there, Jason Cundy.
Has anyone seen Liverpool? Trent Alexander-Arnold lifted on a free. Can you me free transfer? You're going to win a liver-beating Gerald Quanza's own goal. You'll never walk alone. Jermaine Pennant, Arne Slot. Can you me Slot? You're going to win a liver-beating 100% Moaning Mo. The cophead, Frankie goes to Hollywood. Paddy the Bunny. You're going to win a liver-beating the Blue Flares at Anfield. The Quad, Dean Saunders, Atomic Kitten. Can you me Kitten? You're going to win a liver-beating.
Jeez, honestly. Nottingham Forest drop more points in the hunt for Champions League football at Selhurst Park tonight. Forest fans, you concerned now you won't finish in the top 5. 03 717 22 33 44. Also, Trent has announced his decision to leave Liverpool on a free transfer. How will be remembered? Can Liverpool fans fault him for leaving Real Madrid? Some of you, I'm seeing it on social media, burning his shirt already. Disgraceful from some of you Liverpool fans. Unacceptable. Elsewhere, though, it was an eventful final day across the EFL at the weekend. You can get involved in the show. Talk about your club. 03 717 22 33 44.
Enzo Fernandez finding the bottom left corner from the edge of the 6-yard box. It was a rapid Chelsea counter-attack.
Whooping!
Kenny, shut up. I think they have conceded a second goal, and in quite comical fashion. Cole Palmer it was, bursting into the penalty area, and I think it's Virgil van Dijk has played it against one of the Chelsea players, and it bounces beyond Alisson.
One second. My sources are ringing me. Give me a second. Assalamu alaikum.
It's not Trent, mate. He's gone. Trent's not answering the phone, mate. Stop trying to call him.
Palmer against Alisson to seal the points for Chelsea, and he scores low into the bottom right-hand corner. Relief for Palmer. The champions are toppled at Stamford Bridge.
The guy, he's planned this for the past 3 years.
You said this has been planned for 3 years, yeah?
Yeah.
Why did you say before Christmas that he'll sign a new contract for Christmas Day?
He promised Liverpool that he's going to sign. Liverpool didn't want to sell him. They could have sold him. But do you know what? They didn't want to sell him. Shut up. Who's this on the line? Who's crying? Gandhi!
I love that. I love how 100% Mo's become like a massive part, hasn't he? It's like his own little feature.
Gandhi!
Hey, Gandhi! How are you, mate?
Let's see if he phones up and says, well done, Chelsea. I mean, he probably won't. No, he never
Well, you
praises.
You don't say well done, Liverpool.
I said well done winning the title. Best team in the country. Well done.
Yeah.
Said the other day. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. I'm good. Yeah, watch the weekend's football, and I watch Spurs, and not even worth even talking about, mate. Pointless.
Spurs and Man United at the moment. The season's over.
Yeah.
League
West
season.
Ham are garbage, though, mate. Oh my God, I was expecting West Ham to come and play on the front foot. You know, I knew Spurs would just be happy to take a draw and move on, get some minutes in some players. Tell you what, mate, I am not convinced. West Ham fans can tell me. Graham Potter, I'm not convinced.
Well,
not convinced at all. They're terrible.
Since he's been in the bounce that you look for or hope for, and more often than not, you see changes in the resultant for. It's not happen, mate.
There's no bounce, mate.
And we spoke the other day about Leeds getting promoted and Burnley, and they have Leeds fans, and rightly so, feel they can stay out. And we're saying, who's going to drop out? Who's the team that's going to miss out? Well, right now, West Ham, you don't want to continue that form next season because they are ones that you would have thought need to strengthen. Hold on to Bowen. If none of those happen, they may well be looking over their shoulder.
As much bounce as a pancake, they've had.
There you go.
Shocking.
Pancake bounce.
They are terrible. West Ham. I know West Ham fans. I want to speak to them because I tell you what, I'm not happy with what I saw at the weekend from you. I expect it from Spurs. We got a massive game.
We got Thursday.
We've got Thursday coming up,
and United.
You take the foot off the gas.
United got beat. Spurs. I mean, it's like
Mate, you're not though.
No, played well.
Oi.
Played well. Good time to play
Up
them.
the Chelsea.
Chelsea. Good time to play them, maybe. Took the, they didn't feel like the strongest team, but we played well. We deserved to win. Much the better side.
Yeah. Cole Palmer gets a goal.
He